Young bamboo shoots could brave the bitter cold of winter, graceful and serene in the face of adversity.
Father, you taught us that the Xiao family must act like bamboo in the winter, unruffled and composed. But what if the powerful seek our downfall? What good is our composure if evil goes unpunished? Forgive me, I must defy our mantra. What?
She's but a girl. What's a she-hotel complex?
Race to the family.
Was I the one who brought this misfortune?
Chi.
No, I mustn't hide. For the Xiao family, for vindication, and for her safe return. I knew this was a life of hardship, a life of uncertainty and diligence. My only option is to press onward and tread the unknown. The Xiao family must act like bamboo in the winter. Unflinching and steadfast in the face of adversity.
With steam dense as a veil, and wine sweet as honey, one can't help but relax at the hot spring. Return to basics. Surrender restraints. Relinquish thyself. Like the eagle plummeting straight down, lusting for lambs, hating all lamb souls. Bathed in the spring, we drink. We worship. We indulge.
Place at its finest. In July they came, and met in August. For flowers they were named. They stayed and dwelt in September, bathing in the sun. Oh, sway, she let down her guard. Grow, lurking datura, feeding up rosemary who couldn't let go of discards. Night and night stood aloof from the light. Down and down fell into addictions and took delight. Time and time behind the curtain he hid till that came into sight. Place at its finest, bellow stain, where passionate vines often chase the butterflies. A place with fragrances, bellow stain, and now to dust the flower has returned.
What happened on the island?
Let's go and see.
Welcome to Identity 5 Championship Southeast Asia 2021.
Right away, despite the terrain, but look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, but oh my God.
But oh my god, trying to cut corners, Mercenary eats that regular hit, LC, granting safe, and now just gonna go for the rescue. 7-2S being patient with a parashot. just in time. He was able to open up. He did. Wow. Just trying to kite his way around here, trying to push. Oh my, the Cypher is almost trying. Can Anchan survive this long? Excellent vault there. Oh, they popped the Cypher.
Have to keep in mind that teleportation thing.
GG's will be called. Excellent stuff, guys. Southeast Asia, congratulate GH because they are your champions, ladies and gentlemen.
Accept God's mercy. Rise beyond the constraints of life and death. This is an endless game of chance. Greed has tainted the sanctity of faith. Pawn your lips and tongue, never to speak of the past. Pledge your beating heart, break free from the Reaper's hold. Surrender your soul, submit to eternal desire. In this never-ending revelry, you must wager your immortality.
The new season of O-Lettuce, branded parent-child wear. Loose, comfortable trousers suited for different working scenarios. Tailored t-shirts fit for everyone. Fashion options for robots are also on sale. The final version is for parent and child? Manor-themed special photo sticker machine for couples. The video is not sponsored by Bloody Queen. If the product has quality problems, Bloody Queen won't be responsible for this.
Heard that there's an amazing mirror in Olita's Manor. It is not a funny mirror, but it will make you look slimmer. Of course, it can make you look bigger. Changes across species aren't impossible as well. That is not the mirror that we should use willy-nilly. News story still goes on. Look through the Olita's Manor mirror to see the other side of you.
Lettuce Bar's grand opening. We have a special barmaid who can make famous Dublin drink. The bar has a warm and welcoming vibe.
Hey, don't drink weird beverages in my bar.
It was never a ruse. This is a requiem. Requiem for peace in a chaotic dreamscape. Even if it amplifies their fear, requiem for an exercise to extend the extracting every last drop of that crystal dew. Cast them into the abyss again and again as they stand on the border of truth and vanity, warning them.
Is this place really haunted? Who's there? The Crystal Palace was once where art and science collided. Some reminisce about its former glory. Some long for its splendor. Now, you're here too.
With steam dense as a veil, and wine sweet as honey, one can't help but relax at the hot spring. Return to basics. Surrender restraints. Relinquish thyself. Like the eagle plummeting straight down, lusting for lambs, hating all lamb souls. Bathed in the spring, we drink. We worship. We indulge.
Miss Xiao, how was your childhood?
Well... At the dinner table, Father said with a smile, "You sure love playing judge, don't you?" And then they wanted me to pursue my own happiness. Of course, so did my brothers.
Your brothers?
He was not qualified to represent justice. And I won't allow that to happen.
Something happened, I suppose.
I did what I had to do. Justice needs obedience. Justice needs sacrifice.
Take it over to the Fat Lady Sings. That's all.
The arrival of the first letter was the prelude to a change in tone. An accentuated sign of fate's shifting course appeared on the night the second letter arrived. Those fragile wings flew in with the dying light. Who forgot one simple truth. The purer the light, the deeper its shadow. My nightingale, never chase after illusions of hope. Looking back with longing eyes, this is just his unfailing bait.
All that remains upon this throne is nothing more than a fragile, incompetent heart. After the embers fade and die out, Our homeland, ripped asunder by the flames of war. At the height of my desperation, I finally saw the light of a star above. She was the one who brought the light of dawn back into my life. But when the sun sank below the horizon, I saw the flames of war burning without end. Flesh torn and blood spilled before me. The illusion of my utopia had lost the favor of the sun. I have to get out of here. I have to...
Why do you wish to escape, my dear king? In this everlasting Colosseum, you will forever be my gladiator. Anna, night. Girls' school. To discover the truth about what happened to Anna, I disguised myself as a maid at the school. After the incident, someone was still the center of attention. Someone was still beloved. Someone seemed to be hiding something. And the odd thing, someone was trying to look for answers in those ancient legends. The truth may not be what it seems. Everyone is under suspicion. Things were not as simple as I imagined.
踏过荒谷和大漠，肩负着族人的使命，去往异乡。阴谋与命运交织着。当星辰落下之时，毒蛇露出了尖牙。忠诚与背叛的戏码拉开序幕。火光将反叛的计划化为乌有，刺向毒蛇的弯刀，在烈火间把双手灼烫。然而，救命的稻草不过是又一场狩猎的预谋。而若不甘心成为猎物，只能自己勇敢伸手，触碰飞鸟与神鹰。
Last night, I dreamt of returning to that place once again, trapped in a trance, the scent of the soil and leaves, and the chimes of midnight were beckoning me. No matter how many times you found salvation within your own creation, you could not escape the nightmares of your memories.
Stop it! And this now?
I remember now. It's all coming back to me. When the nightingale sings, the mansion gates will open for me under the starry sky. Tonight, the truth will be revealed.
The islanders often say the wayward sons will eventually return home, just as migratory birds always come home to roost. Yet, fewer and fewer have returned. Fear has gripped the island, and strange rumors began to take hold. Overshadows the shore. Some also say a resentful soul lies beneath the waves, luring voyagers to their doom. While many claim, even in a storm, the swallows will guide you in the right direction. However, is this calamity wreaked by disgraced deities? Or perhaps it all stems from greedy hearts? Stay a while. I have an interesting tale for you. Sergei, once the backbone of this circus, he brought numerous joy and laughter on stage. But he was a slave to the bottle off stage. His mistress began to fall for a more considerate man, and after a heated argument, she sought refuge in that man's tent. Sergei couldn't stand for this. He destroyed that man's wretched face with acid and ruined his life forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Southeast Asia IVC for more action between some very exciting teams. My name's Elio, joined here with Soy Milk. And Soy, we have some incredible matches today. The first one is going to be WP versus MP. Mad Penguins, we actually saw have some very incredible game sense and team correlation with some very nice roller coaster plays on Moonlit River Park. Actually, one of the most exciting matches I've seen in a while. So I'm very excited to see if they'll come out with that today. Up against WP, this is going to be a very good matchup here. I think on paper, we're going to have a little bit of a slight advantage for MP based off of how well they played in this tournament. But, I mean, this should be very exciting. What are your thoughts on these matchups today?
Thank you for a nice intro, Eli. Very excited to see these matches today, just because yesterday we saw Mad Penguins Moru killing left and right. So this afternoon we are glad to see now MP once again, but this time against a team that is actually a newcomer team called WP. And if you guys remember, during the preliminaries, we did see WP Potter's Hunter coming in very strong with a geisha. So guys, for you guys geisha fans out there, we probably will see a geisha coming in from WP Potters. So far, so good, Eli. So good. So many good things to see today.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, looking forward into this matchup here. It's going to be definitely very close, but again, on paper, definitely Mad Penguins with the advantage going into this one. Just a lot more tournament experience, as you mentioned, WP being a slightly newer team to the competitive scene, whereas Mad Penguins is kind of a team that's come back from being, they had a lot of success in the past. I think a lot of these players have been away from the game for a while, but they have come back for this large event here in Southeast Asia. We are going to go to the look at our promotion for the new Essence as well as the new game mode. So we'll have that up in a second for you guys. Yeah, Soy, what can you tell us about that? I know you're really into all the essences and the new character skins. Unfortunately, it's not something that I'm too well versed in, so I'm going to leave that up to you for this one.
Yes, guys, let's check out like the new essences for the new skin of Paisa, or the Anti-Aquarian, one of the newest survivors coming in from NetEase.
Father,
is going to have a very nice
you
skill
taught
with a
us that the
mechanical
Xiao family
flute
must
that
act
you
like
can
bamboo
wave
in the
around.
winter,
And
unruffled
you can actually
and
do many
composed.
things with it. You can first jump over
But what if the
lower
powerful
terrain
seek
areas,
our
and then the
downfall?
second one, the third one skill is to
What
sweep,
good is our composure
swat,
if
and
evil
hit the
goes
hunter away
unpunished?
from the center.
Forgive me. I must
Let's check out the trailer.
defy our mantra. What?
She's but a girl. What does she hope to accomplish?
Race to the family.
Was I the one who brought this misfortune?
Chi.
No, I mustn't hide. For the Xiao family, for vindication, and for her safe return. I knew this was a life of hardship, a life of uncertainty and diligence. My only option is to press onward and tread the unknown. The Xiao family must act like bamboo in the winter. Unflinching and steadfast in the face of adversity.
Yeah, so this is the Essence Painter Essence skin. It's an A skin and it is Chinese theme. It is actually really nice to get it. I got it like in the 6th pool or something, and I was so lucky because it looks so pretty. Edgar with green button eyes. It looks so elegant, and I really like it. As an ex-painter main, I'm gonna use this skin quite a lot, to be honest.
Yeah,
Do you think this skin is like your style?
yeah, definitely. It's a very unique design. You know, we've seen a lot of the painter skins go to more different colors. You know, we've seen them go brighter colors with white and red. Not so much for this darker green sort of style, but I definitely like this this sort of play on colors with the green here. It looks really well. With sort of the theme of the essence, we also see the Wu Chang skin here as well. Which is very nice. I actually know one of my friends got it 5 times when trying to get the S tier. I'm not going to say who because they're going to get mad at me for that, but it was pretty funny. But it is a very nice skin. I think it's really cool. This is actually one that I personally would go for. I do enjoy the hunter skins, kind of more so over the survivor skins. Just kind of, I personally, I just like the designs better. I think it's very awesome, and it's definitely something that I would use in my Wu Chang gameplay when I use this character. So I really like this this overall design here. Of course, the contrast between the black guard and the white guard is always nice to see. And I think this is a very good skin for the addition to the Identity 5 game.
Last but not least, Pizza Anti-Aquarian, the newest survivor of NetEase, coming in with a mechanical float that she's used for swing and swap the hunter away. One of her main skills that I already tried was she doesn't like evil, she dislikes evil, so she's able to cancel the hunter skill, and she makes the hunter really avoid all attacks, sense of attack, and I think that's really useful. It's kind of like a combination between acrobat and forward, because those skills are quite mixed, and I think it still requires a little bit of practice for me to say a little bit more about her, but so far this S skin is to live for. I really love it, and I'm so lucky like I got it, and I wish you all guys the same luck to get this S skin. Totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, and a very exciting character as well. I've had the opportunity to play around with her a little bit, and I think just a lot of I think this character is going to be very strong moving forward. Just the flip ability is very useful, as you said, very similar to Acrobat. I think it's a very nice animation as well when you use that ability. It kind of, you can use it like the Acrobat ball to jump over objects and things. I think it's very cool. And just, of course, a very, again, continuing off of that sort of like more of a green theme for these type of skins. It works really well with that. Yeah, without further ado here, we are going to get into our rankings so far for the event here. We do have the Group A stage, which is currently what we're going to see first. MP versus WP. MP currently on top here, in the first place with that one win. WP yet to potentially win that here, but again, a close matchup between these two teams. MP, of course, on paper having the advantage. WP is really going to want to potentially battle back here and put themselves in a position where they can potentially advance to later stages of this event.
Exactly, same as for RYU versus AX. They are both our second and third from the Group B. So looking forward to see whether AX can jump up and take either the lead or just the second place from the Group B. It's gonna be really, really good to see today's matches and what these survivors and hunters have to bring to the table for our IVC.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, just the matchups for today. Again, WP versus MP, as we mentioned. WP, they're really going to need to try to battle, work this match to the best of their advantages here. And, as you mentioned, Potter's the main hunter for WP, being a strong Geisha player going into this matchup. Moonlit River Park, of course, being the most advantageous map for that particular hunter. But as we saw, MP utilizes that coaster to perfection. Just the setup, pressing those buttons, bringing the coaster to second stop early game instead of leaving it on that first stop platform, allows for any survivor kiting around the two-story area to immediately transition to coaster and make their way across the map. That's going to be the game changer here. Does Potter's opt to try to play, we also see Breaking Wheel as well. Do they try to play into that Moonlit River Park strategy? It works so well for the MP survivors, but also well for their hunter. So it's really something you have to consider. And, on the side of MP, we do see Moro as well. Sculptor, also known for Breaking Wheel. We saw Moro play Breaking Wheel on Moonlit River Park earlier in this tournament as well for MP. So either way here, it's going to be an intense matchup. I think, again, just a slight advantage for MP having that previous tournament experience and also perfecting the survivability of their team on that Moonlit River Park is going to give them a pretty good advantage here over Potters. He's really going to need to be able to work around that and try to play to his advantages.
Yes, these both are very good hunters. As far as I know, Potters is a veteran IDV player, whilst Moru, as you all know, is a veteran IDV hunter on competitive play. So we're gonna see whether these hunters can able to counter each other's teams and survivors. Both of them have a huge hunter pool. And then so far we're gonna see WP Hermione with Mercenary and with a win with points of 122 coding, and yeah, the stats are a little bit small, but for ME survivors is Cyru with Prospector, one of the best stunners in the team as well. So as you say, Eli, what do you think about having more stunners than kiters in a team? Do you think that's important in a team to have more stunners or kiters?
Yeah, it's definitely very hunter dependent. As we saw, Potter's being a big breaking wheel player. It depends on the type of hunter you're playing. Certain hunters are more fragile and struggle more against the harassing type of characters, whereas other hunters can deal with that a lot easier. Something like a breaking wheel is a lot more fragile when outside of that wheel form. It's very challenging for them to deal with any sort of support, such as batter, forward, even things like prospector, very minimal, but having a huge impact in the match here. We're going to look into the next two characters, the next two players. WP Cedric here, known for that forward, and then also on the other side, LC. Looking at the batter, and again, batter, as you mentioned, Soy, harassers are going to be very crucial in this matchup. Geisha, breaking wheel for Potters, both struggle heavily against the batter, breaking wheel being very fragile. And Geisha's dashes simply get cut off by the batter swinging a ball at them. You can knock them back, cut off their dashes, and allow the survivors to create more distance. Even on a map like Moonlit, if we do opt to see that, batter is going to be a huge game changer here, and it's something that Potters definitely has to look out for. So, if MP does opt to go with the batter strategy, it's really something that this hunter is going to have to try to work around. And of course, just your standard forward is a very difficult character to deal with as well if you are playing breaking wheel on the side of Moru. But again, it's just going to come down to how well can Potters actually play against the MP survivors, and will the WP survivors actually step up here and be able to perform well against Moru, who is a very seasoned hunter and has a lot of skills and just a lot of characters available on a lot of these different maps.
Yes, one thing worth mentioning is that in this game mode, in this tournament server, there is not going to be flywheel. So as we seen during preliminaries, the flywheel was being utilized by the survivors, especially by survivors like Magician, and most survivors that have not much of kiting possibility, they would just flywheel against Geisha or against one-hit hunter. So I think this time it's going to see a little bit change in the way the survivors play. And so far what we see on the screen is WP with Scamander. Is it like the last name from Newt Scamander coming in for with the forward, and MP with Anomaly with the Magician. So yeah, like I said, I think flywheel will definitely be a little bit of a game changer if you may ask me about it.
Yeah, we are going to see, two acrobat players here as well. Again, we're going to, we talk about how sort of the common map here is going to be Moonlit River Park. And acrobat, of course, being very, very strong. And the reason why, again, just to revisit that, Moonlit is very crucial for both hunters, round one breaking wheel on both sides, and Geisha for Potters, and also the survivability of the MP survivors for that map. That's their best map that we've seen so far in this tournament. They're able to take down a very strong Clerk player. I believe it was you, who is, obviously a player out of Japan earlier in this tournament. So I think that definitely that acrobat's gonna be a huge character here. We may actually see it get banned in the early rounds if it's not locked in right away. Typically how a lot of the first bans go is you see something like a Seer get banned, Forward Priestess get locked in, and then Acrobat or Patient being the next ban, and those hunters just kind of completely disregarding the Mercenary and allowing it to come out here. They're not really worried about it in the early rounds, especially on a map like Moonlit. Acrobat and Patient a lot more scary, a lot more challenging to deal with. Not only can they kite as well as Mercenary on these maps in certain areas of the map, they also decode at max efficiency, whereas Mercenary does not. So I think that's definitely going to be a huge game changer here as well. But yeah, I mean, just looking into this matchup here, so we talked about the different hunters, that they could potentially come out here, and it looks like we're actually going to see Sacred first here, and it looks like it is going to be on the side of WP, which does make sense here. Of course, if we saw MP with map selection, we might see Moonlit, but Sacred is a little bit interesting. This is not a map we see picked very often by any team. I think the reason why here we're seeing it from WP is that they're kind of on the back foot going into a matchup against a very experienced team like MP. You have to go with a non-meta strategy, and maybe it'll work into your favor. Maybe Potters has very good skill for this map. It's unlikely considering that Sacred is so survivor-sided, and I think this is a map that's definitely going to benefit MP in the long run because of how well their survivors play together. But it's a huge risk that this WP team is taking, but it's one they definitely have to commit to if they are going to take down a team like MP.
Exactly. As you mentioned, the combo between Patient and Acrobat, I think that's actually one of my favorite combo to see. But as well, there's other combos, like for example, Mercenary and Explorer, because Explorer is one of the characters that can pick up items. So once the Explorer finishes using the book and he wants to get dungeon, he can easily pick up a pair of elbow pads dropped by the Mercenary and then scoop for the dungeon. So I think that's also one of the combos that I really like from the Survivor side, as well as, like you said, Patient Acrobat. For me, will be Mercenary with Explorer. And then how about other combos that we see according to this Survivor lineup competition? We see a Magician there and a Batter. Do you think that will be a good combo as well?
Well, Batter and Magician don't have any direct synergy with each other. And I think going back to your point about Mercenary dropping elbow pads, item swap plays are of course very strong, especially on a map like Sacred. I think it's less likely we'd see that with Explorer. Explorer's not a very strong character in general. So it's unlikely we'll see an Explorer item swap with Mercenary. Maybe something more along the lines of a Patient. Once they use up all their hooks, you can, the Mercenary can drop the elbow pads for the Patient. They can potentially rebound Kite in the end game. But yeah, maybe Explorer is strong on Sacred. It's just less common in early rounds. I mean, it's really only there. The reason why we've seen Explorer in this tournament is to counter Clerk. The only reason we see Explorer is to counter Clerk. And as far as I know, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of Clerk from either of these two teams. It's definitely possible, but it's less likely from what we've seen so far. The reason why Explorer is very good against Clerk is that, as we know, Clerk can, block off a Cypher Machine, prevent it from being decoded, but Explorer can instantly pop if they have those pages. So yeah, in reality, I think that's why we see Explorer get utilized a lot here. Again, less likely. The issue with this situation here is round one Sacred, it's very difficult for Breaking Wheel. So it's a little bit less likely we'll see that actually get utilized. I'm not really sure what Potters is trying to play going Sacred here. Maybe Sculptor. Sculptor's not too bad here. Maybe Geisha, but again, Geisha, not great for Sacred either. So I think maybe the game plan here for WP is Potters goes Sculptor and try to force Moru to maybe play Wheel on a bad Wheel map and, just try to push your luck there.
I agree with you because known as Potters for being played main of Sculpture and Breaking Wheel, I'm pretty sure he will prefer playing Sculpture over Breaking Wheel in this map. So I think that could be one of the game plans right here. And then if you force a Hunter like Moru play play Breaking Wheel in this map, I'm pretty sure he will know that he has many options, not other Breaking Wheel. He can play Monokuma, he can play Bonbon, and he can also play what others one? I think he can also play other hunters as well, rather than only Breaking Wheel. And I feel if he does play Bonbon in this map, I think it's gonna work very well for him because I believe Bonbon is actually not too bad in this map, especially using Teleport to harass the ciphers from the beginning of the match and just teleporting to the cipher that is moving. He can down the survivor very fast, insta kill, and then move on to the next target or just camp the chair and force for them to sell the first survivor and then move on. So I think if they force him to use this map, he's definitely going to go around it. I'm not gonna fall for just using Breaking Wheel since he has also a big pool of hunters as well.
Yeah, so Teleport Bonbon is a little bit more common on like larger maps such as maybe Moonlit River Park, Lakeside. Also not too bad on something like Ever Sleeping, but we usually would see Blink more because of stronger kiting areas. You can also use it on something like Red Church. On Sacred, we typically see a Peeper build. It prevents sort of the hospital loop. A lot of the hunters who like to go Bonbon will go Peepers into this map. I think the only hunter that really would go straight into Teleport is maybe like PPX from GR. It's very uncommon to see a Teleport straight out the gate. For Bonbon on Sacred. It's very common on other maps, but on Sacred, you really kind of have to have the Peepers to cut off that hospital loop. So I think that if we do see Bonbon, we're going to see a Peeper build. It's just Bonbon round one, it's just not as good because, you're playing a tie hunter when you want to try to utilize those 4K hunters. And, maybe that's the goal here for WPs. You try to bait Moru into playing Bonbon. Which is a tie hunter out the right out the gate here. Then you get to ban Breaking Wheel in round number 2. So all of a sudden Moru has no winning potential hunters for both of the first 2 rounds. You go into a round 3, you can ban all of them, and then you kind of have free sailing from there. So maybe this could work. And does Moru take the risk of actually playing Wheel here? It's it's difficult because, as you talked about, there's a lot of windows on this map. You have Shack, you have Ruins, and Hospital itself is very difficult to control in. So I think that if this map works for Potters as well, it could be very strong. I'm just really worried. Like, I get the idea here is that you're forcing Moro to play sort of weaker hunters in the early rounds, but you're also giving the MP survivor so much room to work with. We see them being very strong in these survivor-sided maps. Even something like Moonlit, going something like Sacred, this is just so much more challenging. Potters has to be on their A game 100%, or MP survivors are just going to tear this map apart.
Yes, that's exactly because we just saw yesterday the way MP plays. They know the map placement so well. They know the span and they know the rotation way. So according to what we seen yesterday, and based on that, we definitely can see that there is definitely a little bit slightly advantage for the survivor side of MP. So I think that, like you said, it's going to be very difficult for the hunter, especially at the beginning of the match. And taking a hunter like a sculpture is going to be must get at least 3 kill to in order to allow to put less pressure on the survivor side of their team. So that's why I think that they chose this map. They believe the hunter can bring those points first, so they can also aim for a tie, and they don't need to get like a 4-man escape for the second round. So I think that that's going to be the first strategy. Aim for the hunter to getting a 3 kill or an all kill on the first round, and then later on they can just play along and then try to not get too much pressure on the hunter once again. Because, like, this is a game that both hunter and survivor need to rely on each other, and there needs to be confident from both parts that they're going to bring each other up and try to support each other regardless. Because when you are in a team, it is that way. You need to rely on the other side and then encourage each other, and then no matter what happens, still try to aim for getting those points and try to get the second place or the first place of your group is going to be really, really good. It's going to set you up in an amazing position for the next stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely here. Obviously, if MP is able to win here, they're just pretty much going to secure that first spot. Whereas WP, they kind of have to win. This is a must-win situation for them. But I mean, it's just we're having a little bit of connection issues, I guess, with logging in. So we will be talking through this match for you guys for a little bit here. But yeah, I mean, just going back to what we were talking about is that 3 kill for Potters would be very strong. It's just that Sacred Heart Hospital, there's a reason why this map doesn't get played in tournaments hardly ever. I mean, it's just so strong for survivors. I mean, basically the idea behind Sacred is that it's so simple in that, basically as a survivor, if you get caught outside a hospital, you could literally run into the hunter, take a free hit, use that speed boost to get into hospital, and you just win the game because the hunter can't catch you for so long because of how strong hospital is. And it's for the most part almost an infinite loop. It's a very long loop. It's very hard to deal with. So I think that it's just going to be a very difficult battle for Potters. I mean, again, it's just like they have to take this risk, right? You're playing against MP, a team that has a lot of experience, with WP coming in not quite as experienced. But I really like what WP is actually going for here with this, with this map selection. It's not really good for their hunter, but again, it's a risk they have to take. So again, we'll see how it plays out here. And then looking into the second round situation, I think we'll probably see. Because normally going into round 2, you would probably see WP ban some map like maybe Arms Factory or something like that. And then you get in a situation where maybe the other team picks Moonlit. That could be very good for Potter's Geisha. But the problem is that you can't really give Moonlit to MP, because we saw how strong they're able to play with it, with the roller coaster plays, with the support, with the acrobat plays. It's just going to be very difficult for them, for Potters to play against the MP for survivors there. So I think that looking into round 2, WP has to ban Moonlit, and then it kind of puts you in a situation where maybe Potters doesn't really get a great map to work on. It kind of comes down to this round 1. This round 1, this is kind of a do or die Sacred map pick. You have to win this round 1 if you're WP here, or else the match is just going to fall out of your favor, and MP is just going to take it in the last 2 rounds. So WP needs to jump ahead early here if they want a chance in this match.
Unless Potters pick up Geisha on the first round on Sacred Heart, because there is so many holes that a pro Geisha can dash through in the hut, and also in the hospital, pro geisha can just go through those little holes and go through walls, if you may say so. So I think if voters feels confident enough to bring out geisha on the first round, that could be little bit of a game changer, because first during the ban phase, they will try to trick the survivors to bring some other survivors, like countering sculpture, because they know that sculpture is his to-go hunter. But what happens if once he does the mind games for the band phase for the survivor pick, and then he chooses geisha, then that could actually cut them a little bit, not a place, but like you said, MP survivors are really good. But at the same time, when you plan around your strategy around a certain hunter, and then they manage to bring something that you were not expecting, sometimes that can work. The mind game can work really well for your team. And in this case, is about Potters. His geisha is really good, Eli, and we saw it together in the Lakeside Village match, the way he instantly downed the little girl and the mercenary in the first minute of the match. So that was a really fast moving geisha. And you know, Lakeside was a very big map. If this geisha did that in 1 minute in Lakeside, I definitely have a lot of expectation if she can do this in Sacred Heart.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. You just also have to consider that Lakeside's a pretty good geisha map, whereas Sacred is extremely survivor-sided, so it's less likely that that would happen. But I mean, the problem again, I mean, you can go for that strategy, but if you go for that again, you're playing a tie hunter with geisha right out the gate, and then you kind of just equal to the same thing that Moru has to play. If Moru wants to go Bon and play a tie hunter in round one, you're kind of just throwing away your round one map pick and playing for a 4-4 in the first round, which really doesn't benefit WP in any way. So I mean, they could go for that. It's just that they really have to play aggressive here in round number one. And I think the biggest issue as well is that you can pick characters that work for both Sculptor and Geisha. So for example, if we see if we see a Priestess ban first, which we probably will see if he's planning to play Sculptor, if he's planning to play Geisha, we're going to see a Seer ban first. You can play characters that's going to counter both. So you have Entomologist, Acrobat, Enchantress, Batter, Forward, Priestess, all work really well against Sculptor and Geisha. So either way, you're going to be able to pick characters that work for both those hunters. It's less likely we're going to see Patient here, because Patient struggles against Geisha, good against Sculptor, but struggles more against Geisha. But it's still possible just because of how strong Patient is on this map. But it's just that, yeah, again, if Potters goes Geisha, you're giving MP a free tie for round number one, essentially. Because, again, Moru's probably going to play a tie hunter, not Breaking Wheel. And Moru's going to get a tie. Potters are going to get a tie because you're playing Geisha, another tie hunter, 4-4. Then you tie on your map selection, which you never want to do. You want to win on your map selection. And then you're giving MP round 2 map selection with a tied round, and MP already having the advantage because, they're definitely a more experienced team in the competitive scene. So the game plan has to be for WP. If they want to win, they have to try to take round number one. And to do that, they have to play an aggressive hunter like Sculptor. I mean, of course, Geisha is a hunter that can win, can get 4Ks. It's just that on a map like Sacred against MP survivors, it's unlikely, and Geisha's more of a tie hunter than Sculptor. So I think that, again, if they go really high, really hard to anti-Sculptor, and you get a lot of good characters for Geisha to go against, and you could potentially go Geisha. It's just unlikely considering the scenario for WP here.
Yes, and now talking about Moru's Hunter, I also remember that Moru is also a Wax Artist main. So thinking about that, Eli, if he picks Wax Artist on the BO1 on the first round, and then we are talking about the B4 nerf Wax Artist, that could be quite also out of the bat, because like you said, this meta is different. This is the tournament server, so that's going to be a Wax Artist that is before nerf, so it's going to be more wax than before. And I think we saw recently a match of Wax Artists 2 days ago, so it was quite strong. It was in Moonlit River though, so I think, like you said, map is very important. But do you think Wax Artist could work very well in Sacred?
Not on Sacred. That's probably one of the worst maps for Wax Artists. Any map that has a lot of areas where you can break line of sight, Wax Artists is just very weak on. Obviously, once you get inside Hospital, that is literally, arguably the best place in the entire game for breaking line of sight. So Wax Artist is going to struggle heavily in Hospital. You're going to struggle heavily in Ruins. You're going to struggle even in Shack because there's a lot of walls that you can hide behind. You can literally loop the pallets in the forest area. Wax Artist is not very strong in this map, so I don't think we'll see that get utilized here. Wax Artist is really viable on maps that are very more open, such as Moonlit, such as Lakeside, even something like Ever Sleeping, possibly, depending on where you are. Chinatown Wax Artist isn't bad. But yeah, definitely not Sacred. I mean, it's a possibility, but it's very unlikely considering the map pick. So Wax Artist is probably something we'd see more in the later rounds once you have a better map selection and maybe you have a better lead. I'm not really sure. It depends on the situation, but it's less likely
Yeah.
we'll see it here on Sacred. Again, we are just waiting for the players to get in the game here, so we should have that up in a minute here. But yeah, I mean, looking into this situation here, what do you think Moro's going to play here? We talked about possibly a Bonbon here. Less likely we're going to see Breaking Wheel, but maybe Moro wants to go aggressive and try to get a win here again. If MP ties or wins this first round, they're going to have an absolutely huge advantage moving to the last two rounds. So if Moro wants to go aggressive, Soy, what hunter do you think they could potentially play here?
Aggressive. I think his breaking wheel is really aggressive. I mean, it's really aggressive, same as his Bonbon. Both of his hunters that Moru mains are, he always plays in a very aggressive way, and he's very quick-handed. The way he maneuvers and the way he uses the time bombs, and also same as the snap and the late skill of the hunters when he gets full presence, is almost unstoppable. So I think that either hunter he picks, he'll definitely make the best of it. So I will be a bit worried if he picks Breaking Wheel though, because like you said, Breaking Wheel is not best pick. But I don't think it's impossible though, because we're talking about Moru, and Moru knows how to maneuver the wheel around these small areas, small corners. He doesn't get stuck easily, and then he has very much flexibility to just get into the wheel form and get out and then zoom around the map, and pretty much he just bounces from wall to wall. He's not afraid of the obstacles. He just has mastered the wheel to a point that really cannot imagine. So I think that even though it's not the best map for him, I don't think it's impossible for him to bring the wheel and get the ult kill. Because once he gets the presence, pretty much unstoppable. And then if you mention about Bonbon though, I think Bonbon will be very feasible. Not as harder to maneuver as the wheel, but definitely also very old kill. Like he can also easily get a lot of survivors down quite quickly. He can do the chain bombs and the remote control bombs really good, utilize it to his advantage and using the terrain. And I'm really think that one of those hunters could be the best. Especially after you mentioned that Wax Artist doesn't really work in this map. I think that could be one of the things. But moreover, let's talk about the combos of the survivor picks. Like you said, there could be a patient together with an acrobat, and then I said like maybe mercenary together with explorer. But now, besides that, what other combos do you think could work very well? Do you think a decoder with a support, like for example postman and acrobat, could work well, or you prefer like prisoner and or another decoder with another survivor? Because for me, I think acrobat and prisoner could acrobat and postman could work quite well.
Well, Acrobat's not really a supporter, so I mean, Acrobat. I don't really know how that would work. Acrobat and Postman don't really. I mean, they just are. They're just like I mean, Acrobat, of course, is a strong kiting character, where Postman is also has kiting potential with support of the letters, of course. They don't really do anything together. I think if you're looking for more support, obviously we'd see Priestess being a very strong character here. Entomologist, of course, very good on Sacred. Allows for those beasts to block off the doorways, to block off the the walkways going upstairs. So Entomologist is a very good character looking into this matchup here. It's also very strong against, as we mentioned, both Geisha and Breaking Wheel, if that's something that Mora wants to go with. Even Sculptor here, Entomologist has a lot on the table to work with here on Sacred. So that's definitely a good possibility here from the survivors. We also have things such as Batter and Forward available as well here. But it looks like we are going to get into the starting lineup here. I think we're going to have a slight change. W Prince is going to be playing instead of Cedric on the side of WP, so we should see that momentarily. But yeah, I think this is we're going to go ahead and get into our picks and bans. We're going to have Moro for MP on the Hunter side. We definitely can tell based off of these bans most likely what Moro is going to be opting to play here. If we see a Priestess ban right out the gate here, which we may actually see, we've been seeing that a lot of Southeast Asia, the Seer ban has kind of been less common from a lot of these hunters. We have seen Priestess go right away here, and especially on a map like Sacred, this could definitely benefit Moro here, as this would work for both Bonbon, Sculptor, even something like a Breaking Wheel might not be too bad as well, although it's more likely we're going to see Seer forward. But yeah, it's definitely possible here for Moro, again, depending on what he, is opting to play. And it's going to be Priestess, so we may actually see the Bonbon or Sculptor, as previously mentioned here, Soy.
Yes, just like you said, first ban Priestess means that there's not gonna be Geisha most likely, and because Geisha is not the type of hunter that will ban Priestess. So as you said, Moro most likely will bring either a Bonbon or a Sculpture, and then coming in we already see the forward and the Seer. Eli, they heard your words. They want to see you to see a Seer Eli there, right there. So forward and Seer. Oh wait, that was a mercenary. Okay, two tough guys coming in for the first line up from Hermione and Prince. So as you all know, Prince is replacing Citric. So yeah, it's going to be a new time. First time seeing Prince coming in from WP. So a lot of expectations coming in of how will be the synergy between these two. I believe that being two slow decoders, they will need definitely someone to decode steadily. So I believe they're either a postman or entomologist, since the acrobat has been banned. Yeah.
Yeah, so, again, we still see the absence of Seer here. It looks like we are actually going to see Explorer, which, it's a good character, as you mentioned, for this map. And yeah, still just the absence of Seer here. Locking in Explorer here is interesting. Explorer definitely was not going to be banned by Moro, so I'm not really sure the idea behind locking it in. They could have actually just selected as their fourth character. It looks like we do see the Entomologist get banned. So again, very strong character for this map. You definitely don't want to let that come out here. And of course, Seer would be a very strong character for the last one here, but it looks like that's, again, something these teams opt to kind of avoid here. So maybe we'll see something like Patient instead. I think you just have to go Patient or Seer as your last two. There's really no better character here, unless we see something specialty that we aren't really considering. Okay, Dancer, there's a specialty character. And we are going to see Bonbon, so, or at least that's something that Moro is currently considering. So again, yeah, I mean, this is playing right into WP strategy, as we mentioned. Try to go for a tie here against Moro, and then just, go into a situation where maybe Potters can actually get a three-person elimination. Of course, it's going to be very difficult, but WP, again, fighting an uphill battle here against Mad Penguins. So, yeah, this team comp, it's just very interesting how this kind of plays out. I think what the goal here for the Survivors is that you forward and Mercenary two targets that are very unchaseable for a Bonbon. Explorer's not going to get found if played properly. So the only character that the Bonbon can really chase is Dancer. If she's able to take Sacred Heart Hospital, you force the Bonbon to chase the Dancer inside Hospital. Dancer, of course, every time she drops down, gets that 40% speed boost increase, which is very beneficial for kiting in a two-story area such as Sacred Heart Hospital. And then you also have the forward support and the Explorer Cypher Rush. Again, Explorer probably not going to be getting found here if utilized properly, and I think we're going to see Peepers from Moro as well, just to benefit that inside Hospital chase against the female Dancer.
Yes, all these survivors are switch item able survivors, so we might be seeing some item swap. The mercenary can easily drop his 3 elbow pads and either give it to the Dancer or the Explorer. So that will be quite good because these two survivors are particularly weak against any hunter, especially at the beginning of the match. Especially when you finish using your item like the Dancer, she puts the music boxes in one very good kiting area, and once she's over, she got nothing to deal with. So that's one of the things to watch out for. The item swap that we might be seeing in this match, because we've seen many pro teams use the item swap in the most unexpected ways, such as GR and other pro Japanese and Southeast Asia teams as well. So I think it wouldn't be surprising too much if they will try to surprise Moro by swapping some items, and then you will see a Dancer that becomes a mercenary.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. Once those, the boxes do go through, they do go away very quickly here for Dancer. They opt to utilize them very early, which of course is the correct play, and then allows you for that mercenary to search a chest, pick up an item of themselves, and then drop 2 elbow pads for the female Dancer to utilize later, which is actually, of course, very strong on this map again, because, elbow pads allow you to transition back into Hospital. The goal for the Survivors, if you get first kite, get yourself into Hospital. It's very difficult to chase for a Bonbon. However, a Bonbon with Peepers has more of a strength there. We are going to see the Bonbon immediately rotate Looks like spawning behind Ruins near the back attack. They're rotating straight towards Statue. 2 survivors spawning, of course, in this area. We'll see if one actually opts to rotate into the Hunter or not. Looks like Explorer immediately hiding here. Did he see the Explorer in the different distance? This is key. Nobody sees the Dancer, and he catches the Dancer outside of Hospital. That is really, really important here. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and commit to this survivor here, trying to hit these bombs here. 8 beautiful dodges already. 1 box out of the way there. As we mentioned, Sway, the boxes go back so quickly, utilizing that that spin to get as much distance as possible. This is really... Oh, the Dancer stopped. She should have used that that time that he stopped to break the box to get to Ruins. That's such a strong kiting area. Now she positions herself in a lot weaker area here. Of course, does have that slow box to work with. Now the Dancer needs to go straight for Ruins with this time here. And it looks like she is going to now utilize that, but maybe a bit slow here as the Bonbon is already caught up.
Moro spent some quite time destroying the boxes, and now will be go for the the blink is ready anytime, so he's definitely preparing for a blink any moment from now. And you see a Scamander, the Dancer, going immediately, like you said, for the hospital, one of the best cutting areas. And you've elbow padded inside the walls, Eli. That was an amazing swiftly swap of items.
And there's another elbow pad as well, just to create that distance. We see the Mercenary, of course, holding that illusion. Oh, Dancer. Oh, gets Terror Shocked with the blink there. Dancer kind of trapped herself in a really weak area there. You cannot stop at that pallet. That's such a weak pallet. The Dancer's best moves there. Try to position themselves going up to that 2-story top of the building, take a hit, and just keep rotating up around 2-story, or try to go to that outside window, potentially get a broken window speed boost. We're going to see the forward stun on chair. Try to get the Dancer into Hospital here. No Tide Turner as well. Forward needs to try to go for another follow-up stun. The Dancer's going to go down immediately. And yeah, she's just going to get farmed off of chair here. Moro able to get that down here forward, of course, in the area to harass, but all Moro needs to do is drop these bombs here, pushing this forward away here. Goes for the control bomb. Forward footballing, a little bit too early here. They're going to lose that forward support, unfortunately. Still a drawn position for the survivors, but that's exactly what, that's fine for Moro. Not exactly what he wants, but that's fine for Moro to at least get a tie here. And it's just, it's difficult. Explorer does not have much of a page, only 5%. He's going to be able to harass that Statue Cypher Machine, try to force Prince off of it, but yeah, in reality here, I mean, WP, if they get a tie, that's kind of the bare minimum for themselves here. Maybe put Potters in a chance to try to go for a win, but it's still difficult considering that the starting position wasn't bad for them. They actually had a pretty good setup, but unfortunately, they were not able to play it quite to perfection, and Moro is in a drawn position now.
Yes, the unfortunate thing here, the forward is with Wanted Order, so he cannot really get close to Moro. And now Moro has immediately changed target to the Mercenary Moving Machine. And I think he believed he is going to go for trying to find the Explorer here. So it's going to be a little bit of hide and seek game with Explorer hiding around this area. This is actually not a bad map for camouflaging. So Explorer really needs to play well the hide and seek game and avoid to be found by Moro. But Moro is very resilient, and he's not going to just give up easily, and at the same time, he doesn't want to waste time. There's still 3 ciphers remaining, guys, so keep an eye on that. There is still a little bit time on those ciphers, and the forward with half ball luring Moro away from the Explorer, which is very important at this moment.
Yeah, it's just the decoding progress is a little bit behind here. We'll see if Forward opts to use the football here. He should to transition away here, but this is pretty much going to run him out. Forward should have broken windows. We saw no Tide Turner, of course, able to hit that bomb there. Has a second one, goes for the control bomb. Isn't able to get, he's trying to trap in the forward here. Does get that hit there, but the blink currently on cooldown. Forward needs to try to utilize this to get as far as they... Oh, but pushing Hospital is a little bit too late here. Forward's now trapped in the open here. Moro can go for that blink, is able to get the down here. Still 3 Cypher Machines remaining. And look at how far the survivors... They had good Cypher progress, but we haven't seen hardly any Cypher progress over the last 60 seconds of this match. I'm not sure what MP was doing. Maybe a little bit of a miscoordination there. Of course, we did see Explorer pick up a page here, but they don't have the progress to tie the game here. And all of a sudden, Moro's in a winning position here. The kite's not quite strong enough here, unfortunately, for WP. And it's going to be very difficult here for WP to actually try to get 2 survivors out the gate here. Of course, Explorer can use 50% page to try to pop one of those ciphers, but they're still going to need an extra one. And Mercenary is going to be able to need to make a clean save with no elbow pads. Of course, Mercenary did give away those elbow pads early. Is able to dodge all these bombs here. Goes for that rescue. Is able to get the save here. No double hit as well. So a beautiful save from the Mercenary. So this does give him a slight chance here, but Moro knows Mercenary has no elbow pads because he gave them to the Dancer. So this is a pretty easy double down for him.
Yes, a last effort hitting for the mercenary, giving a chance for the forward to also look for some distance, and now Moro will just settle down for the mercenary and forget about the forward. This is a little bit dangerous, Eli, because as you know, the forward can vault another item and also hide, and they all can switch ciphers and go for the explorer cipher, and then just prepare for the make the explorer rescue. So I think that could be the gameplay right here, because an explorer with full health can rescue a little bit better than a forward with half health. So this is going to be what the survivors will choose to do right here against Moru, since he's very strong at camping.
Yeah, it's really just not that dangerous for Moro. I mean, Moro has such a good position here. I mean, Ford's going to
Yes.
go to the last cipher and try to push it. But the problem is, I mean, Ford needs to do basically an entire cipher machine with Ford's slow decoding speed. Explorer doesn't really have any pages to work with. You know, of course, Mercenary is going to have an increased chair time, but Explorer needs to make a no-tide clean rescue. But Moro's going to leave here. Moro's going to leave. This gives Explorer maybe a free rescue. Can Prince potentially get here in time? Goes for that bomb here. He's just going to drop as many bombs as possible, try to get the ship here. Explorer does actually have tide turner, so interesting choice there. Mercenary gets stuck on the pallet and is unable to kite that out here. Mercenary is going to go ahead and go down here. That cipher machine nowhere near primed, and Moro's going to have that trait back online in a moment here. So 3 survivors should be at least eliminated, bare minimum here for Moro. And this is not looking good at all for WP. Again, they had to kind of tie this, and maybe Potters can go for a 3K, but yeah, in this situation, Moro has played this perfectly, and the WP survivors just on a huge backfoot here. We're going to see Hermione go ahead and get off that cipher machine. But of course,
Yeah.
Mercenary now being dead on chair puts Moro in a position where this is definitely just winning for the Bonbon.
Yes, exactly. One of the things crucial here is the explorer didn't make it on the chair before half. If he had make that rescue happen, then it could buy more extra time, because like you said, mercenary can sit on the chair for quite a while. But now Moro is left unleashed, and he is completely free to go to either the explorer or the forward. So at this point, it's definitely looking quite detrimental for the survivor side. And Hermione here is just walking, trying to not be found by the survivor, but Moro. But Moro has eagle eyes, and he immediately spot Hermione, the forward, with no really any much item to use, and will be done by the control bomb. Teleport immediately to the explorer machine.
He actually teleported the wrong cipher machine, but Explorer didn't hide. As soon as you teleport to the wrong cipher, Explorer could have just hid. He's actually running around in small mode. That's going to leave a trail, but we see the airwalk potentially coming in here. Of course, every Explorer brings max airwalk. That means your trail disappears quicker. So Moro didn't see the trail of the Explorer, and he's going to be able to evade vision here. So
Ooh.
excellent job from the Explorer to acknowledge I have this airwalk to work with. It's going to be very difficult for this Bonbon to actually see me, even if I stop running. So, or even if I continue to run for a little bit longer than I would have liked. So this is really good here. So of course, Moro's going to look around as long as possible. Just kind of drop bombs here and there. Hopefully, one of them chips the Explorer and forces him out of hiding. But you know, again, it's still just a matter of time. And he does hit the Explorer. Moro is now going to know where the Explorer is hiding. He's going to get the down on the Explorer, and this should secure all 4 survivors eliminated here. Of course, I don't believe Ford has self-heal available anymore, and Explorer will be placed on the rocket chair. And that would be a 5-point game here for MP. And unfortunately, the Sacred Heart pick here looks like it's just not working out for WP.
Yes, at this point, it was very, at the beginning, it was looking very good for the survivor side from the item swap for the dancer. But later on, when Moro caught up quite quickly with that, then he stopped everyone from decoding. He rushed the explorer away from his main cipher, delaying him from decoding. At the same time, you know, explorer needs to go to look for the treasure. So that also buys some extra time for Moro to slow down and look which target could he go for. And also, once he noticed that Explorer was hiding so well, then he didn't decide to waste time there, and he just moved on to the survivor that he could see, which in this case was the forward. But once that happened, and then he managed to kill the forward, then he went for the mercenary, and it was just like a domino game, one after another falling, and only leaving the only decoder, the explorer, which was really tough, because as explorer you can only do so much with your treasures. You only get 3 treasures, 50% each, and once you finish that, which is only 1 cipher and a half, you need to do everything by hand and decode like any other survivor. So that's one of the things that it definitely doesn't help for late game, but for beginning of the game can definitely add some pressure for the hunter. But in this case, is a very situational character explorer, as you may say.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I understand the game plan for WP. The game plan is that you have a mercenary, you have a forward, two characters a Bonbon does not want to chase, and then you have Explorer who's unchaseable because he can't get found. So then you force the kite on the dancer. Unfortunately for WP, the spawn did not work out in their favor. When the Bonbon gets that spawn in the back of ruins near Shack, two survivors are going to spawn over near statue. And how that works is, I mean, I believe it was the dancer and I think the explorer. So just like the two worst survivors getting found there. And it just unfortunately did not work out for the survivors. Obviously, if that's mercenary and forward, honestly, if that's explorer and one of the rescuers, that's perfect because explorer's not going to get found as long as he hides well. And then one of the rescuers takes kite. Dancer has to get a spawn where they can immediately go straight to hospital and not get targeted by the hunter. And that did not work out. And that's why this comp is so risky. And I really love WP taking these risks here because it's something that they're going to need to do to win the game. It's just they got very unlucky with the spawn. And of course, the key there as well, as soon as the Bonbon goes for the music box break on the dancer's box, the dancer has to utilize that to go two places, one ruins or two hospital. And she didn't do that. She stayed at statue, which is not a very strong kiting area, and that allowed Moro to take advantage, get a hit, get a bomb hit, and just kind of it just worked right into his favor as well. The dancer tried to leave ruins early to push hospital. Of course, it was for that elbow pad, and it almost worked out, but Moro was able to catch up very quickly, and it just worked into his favor. And overall, the game was pretty clean by WP. Mercenary, very good rescues. They did have to item swap probably earlier than they wanted to. You want to try to, have Mercenary, decode as much as possible. Maybe item swap later in the game for a potential rebound kite. We talk about how important rebound kites are. The meta is highly based around support for rebound kites, even less so than earlier kites. They kind of used up every option they had with the item swap. For the first kite, once the dancer went down, there was no option for a rebound at all, and that worked right into Moru's favor.
Yeah, once again, let's talk about the forward stun. Like the moment he was right next to the forward, I thought there might be a stun possibility, but the way he decided to rescue was not exactly as most forward will do. They're trying to buy some time. So we see the stats quite quickly. Let's see that the one who decoded the most was the Explorer with 243%, while the longest kiters were both forward and dancer with 77 seconds and 76 seconds. So I believe that once the forward knew that there was no excitement in the match, then I believe that he could be able to just go for the stun and be free to stun. But at the same time, the positioning for when dancer fell at the entrance of the hospital, if I may remember correct, it was not one of the best locations for the forward to stun. And also, like you mentioned, Moro can just throw those bombs and scare away the forward, so just to cancel the stun as well. So I think that in this case, the forward was not in the best possibility to stun the hunter as much as we've seen some forwards do before and harass a little bit more. I think that Moro immediately stopped that, not with excitement, but with the bombs and also with the location of the chair. It was very close to his machine. It stopped the machine decoding and also stopped him from coming in and all strong and deciding to stun once again, because I was very afraid that the forward will decide to just harass the hunter, but that didn't really happen, and it was more like a little bit more of a conservative forward play what we just saw.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the stun on chair from the forward is fine. It's just that you have to if you're gonna do that, you have to make it so the dancer can actually kite. Because the problem is, if you go no tide forward and you go for a stun on chair and you farm the dancer off chair because the stun's not long enough, then you just lost a ridiculous amount of time, because one, the dancer's getting farmed with no tide turner, so you don't get 20 seconds of tide. You instant rescued, which means that you're instantly going to the half chair, and the dancer's not rebound kiting. So you have to be able to stun so the dancer can rebound kite. The goal there for the forward is to try to position themselves where they can throw a pallet down near hospital, go for the stun on chair. They get the stun once, then they stun a second time. They do a follow-up stun to stun the Bonbon again. While they're stunned the second time, the dancer then vaults that pallet that's near, that's kind of close, right outside of hospital. They use that speed boost to get into hospital, and then the game's over because the dancer loops hospital forever because of the dancer's speed boost. The Bonbon doesn't have peepers, so they have no gameplay at all inside hospital, and all of a sudden, WP's in a winning position. But the forward only went for one stun. There was no pallet set up for the dancer, which means she went down immediately. Now all the pressure here is on Potters. He has, to try to go for a 4 survival limit. Again, if you drop this round 1 to MP, on the map that you picked, you're at a huge disadvantage. And so Potters really needs to play extremely aggressive here, try to get a win forward ban right away here, which means they are giving up Priestess, probably Mercenary as the second one, maybe Seer, but we haven't seen Seer utilized too much. So forward first is actually fine. It allows for a potential Geisha, unlikely but potential. It also allows for a Sculptor as well. The fact that the survivors are not taking Seer means that Potters can ban Seer here, and it actually gives him the Geisha option. But again, in a situation where you need 4 survivors eliminated, I don't think we're going to see Geisha, because Geisha doesn't really have as much win potential as something like a Sculptor.
Exactly. Potters really needs to bring out the magic here. He needs to make some magic happen because he's gonna face survivors that work really well in this map, such as Priestess and Mercenaries. So out of the bat, he will just ban Entomologist, also one of the strongest survivors in this map. And MP will immediately take out the card of the Acrobat. And for some reason, very interesting, Eli, they just ban Explorer. They just ban our little Kurt right here and there. First time I see a Kurt focus ban coming in. I believe that Potters is really afraid of the Cypher Rush, I'm guessing. So Eli, we might see a Geisha actually.
It's possible. It's just that no, now that there's Acrobat's very good against Geisha. This comp is already very strong for playing against a Geisha. And Seer, if Seer's the last pick here, yeah, you can't play Geisha here. And we're going to see Clerk maybe from Potters. You cannot play Geisha into this comp. I mean, Priestess, Sacred Heart Hospital, already a difficult chase. Mercenary, unchaseable.
That's right.
Acrobat and Seer, very, very good against Geisha. So Potters smartly going with Clerk. Again, I would have expected to see... Oh, okay, actually Sculptor. Again, I was going to say, expected to see Sculptor, and that actually is what Potters is going for. Again, you cannot play Geisha into this comp. Clerk would also be difficult just because, again, very strong kiters for something like a Clerk here. Clerk's not too bad on Sacred, but again, do or die situation for Potters. You got to go for 4 if you really want a chance at this matchup. And Sculptor isn't too bad going into this comp. Sculptor has a pretty good chase going against a Seer. Acrobat is chaseable, of course, for the Sculptor. Priestess as well if you catch them outside a hospital. So, yeah, Sculptor definitely would be the best hunter for Potters in this situation.
Yes, definitely. This sculpture, Sporter's sculpture has to come in very strong because they just face an all kill. So he has a lot of pressure coming in for the first match with the sculpture, trying to counter all these survivors. I think the best combo coming in from here will be the Acrobat taking the first kite or the Seer and utilizing the portals from the Priestess and going immediately to the hospital. And as you know, no yet presence sculpture can be a little bit weak at the beginning of the match, so the important thing for the survivors will be to just don't feed the sculpture presence that early on, so it will avoid the full skill set. So that's one of the things that's gonna the most likely to happen. We'll see the Seer and the Acrobat as potential first kites, followed by the Priestess as they support. However, though, what happens if they find the Priestess first in an area that there's no very good space for portals? Do you think it is crucial for her to transition to hospital, or you think she can make it out the most in other areas of the map, such as ruins or just S-palette area or a statue? Do you think it's so important for the Priestess to just go hospital, or you think she should just settle down for any other area in the map?
Well, this is why Sacred is so hard for survivors, because if you get caught as a Priestess outside a hospital, you're still fine, because what happens is you just take a basic hit from the Sculptor, you run straight to hospital, you portal into hospital, and you loop hospital for 5 survivors, you win the game. So basically, the idea here is you also have a Seer. That's the thing. That's why the no Seer bans, they don't make sense to me here, because you give Seer so Priestess can take an owl hit, go into hospital, and then have a full health Priestess in hospital, or maybe just take a basic, then you still have owl, so you can still take 2 hits inside hospital. Potters has to play Blink. If you're playing into Seer, you have to play Blink. You're going to see one survivor rotate into the hunter. He looks like it's probably the Mercenary. Potter's going straight into hospital. If he does opt to go up, he's going to find the Seer. Actually, Acrobat, a pretty good find here, but does have runes to work with, does have Seer Owl. So this is going to be a bit of a difficult chase here for Potters going ahead. And yeah, he's going to continue after Acrobat here, trying to get as many early chips here as possible. The pallet already thrown down. Beautiful setup here. He's going to go for a ball right away. And it is the slow bomb. This is going to slow down the pallet break here. So an excellent choice there from the Acrobat. And is now just going to transition, as we mentioned, straight into hospital.
Yes, perfectly utilizing the bomb to transition away and now going in around this pallet area, trying to avoid all the chip damages and using the, wow, first Ooh, that was a stun coming in, and also the Seer Owl helping him transition smoothly to the hospital once again, while also eating a bomb on the way there.
Yeah, and again, this is why we see, teams don't pick a hospital. It's just so hard to chase here. I mean, the Acrobat, they haven't really done much here. Oh, they're gonna get Potters gets a second chip here. Is gonna go for that firebomb. Beautiful choice there again, creating distance. Trying to delay the bit. Goes for this. Oh, gets the pallet stun as well. This gives him some distance. Potters has to break it fast. Pallet breaking speed. So I'm not really sure the build here. Probably Trump. Oh, goes for the blink. Misses the blink here. Can he get this last statue to get the kill here? Goes for the swing and does actually get the down there. That's a very big down here for Potters. We saw fast pallet breaking speed, so I think we probably see a confined space trunk card build. This is extremely aggressive, no detention, trying to kind of get the win before pushing towards the end game. And the first kite was long enough for a tie, so I expect the survivors to maybe go one rescue, maybe not. Mercenary is going to come in here for the first save here, trying to get the save here, going for the statues, is able to, doesn't get the rescue just yet here. Potters goes for the swing, and he is able to get that rescue before the halfway mark. So beautiful rescue here from the Mercenary.
Yes, an amazing rescue from the Mercenary, and going in for trying to get the last effort on the LC Acrobat, and now he's rushing towards the hospital once again. No bombs yet utilized. Ooh, he's going to try to jump over this statue, and very nice jump there. But however, there's a statue coming in. He needs to look back and forth, and the hitbox didn't manage to reach the Acrobat just yet. One more chip damage and he's down, and it will be down finally with one normal hit by Potters.
Is going to be on share for the second time here. Cypher Progress pretty far along here. It's not really winning, but the servers don't have to win. They only need one out to win this round here. Potters is going to drag him all the way over towards the long portal here. Get that share there. He's going to break the portal. And again, I don't think they're going for a rescue. He's already full presence, so it's just not a good save at all if they attempt for this, since they already have a drawn position. Looks like he's going to go ahead and use that chisel here, trying to locate a potential chase target. No wanted order for Potters. This is really weak from here. If wanted order was on this hunter, he would have a 2/3 chance here of actually finding where the survivors are healing based off of that wanted order, and he doesn't have it. But he does see the survivors healing, so he does know no one can go for a rescue. Free chase for the Priestess, but now, yeah, Priestess in hospital. This is where things get really difficult for Potters. He's going to break that pallet extremely fast again. We see that up build, probably confined space with either detention or trump card. I expect trump card because you do have to go for a 4 kill. Is going to go ahead and take that portal. Probably going to take down all of these portals and then go for whichever survivor is in ruins. It is the Mercenary, but if he does have trump card, he could easily teleport potentially onto the Seer as well.
Yes, we see Mercenary going to this ruins area with one elbow pad in hand. He's going to try not to use it yet because he needs to save it for late game. So that's why one of the things that here Potters will try to push all the items away from the Mercenary. He will use it just to escape, and now there's a Mercenary with no more items for late game. So this is actually quite dangerous for the survivor side, but at the same time, he also buys some extra time for the team to finish decoding, taking this portal, believing there is going to be another pallet right here with the Mercenary going away. They don't really think the Priestess will put so many portals here. I think it's very, very convenient for the Mercenary to transition away and buying some extra time for the Priestess and the Seer both to finish the ciphers, Eli.
Yeah, Potters committing to Merc here is interesting. He's going to get a hit here. I expect him to just teleport away. I don't think... I mean, you can't really afford... I guess he's going to try to down Mercenary and then teleport away here. Can he hit this statue onto the Mercenary? This is going to be a very big statue placement. Does get it. The Mercenary is going to go down here. He has to look for the last Cypher. He's got to teleport on the Cypher. You can't share Mercenary. You have to teleport to the last Cypher here. He sees it moving. No, he's going to go for the chair. Oh, Potters. Unfortunately, a huge misstep here. He has to... You have to fork it here if you're Potters. You just, get the chip on the Mercenary. He's going to try to drag him to the last Cypher, but it doesn't matter. It's already primed. If he does, maybe he just doesn't have trump card. It could be that the build is actually up, down, blink, which wouldn't really make sense considering he needs 4 survivors eliminated. Is he going to get that chip onto the Seer here? Trying to pressure the Cypher. Will they go for the pop here? Does he have trump card? I guess not. I guess it's up, down, which, again, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but... what he opted to go for here.
is going to go for the hit, and they pop it, just like you say, Eli, going in for the detention build here, going all in for the first survivor. He can see the Seer actually is the one who is the closest, so with Blink on hand, he's just going to try to time it perfectly just to down one survivor. And Blink coming in, Seer predicted it very well, and is going to transition again in this ruins area, trying to buy some time for the survivors to go for the gate. At the same time, hasn't really get an owl, so that is going to be an insta down for the Seer. However, though, the other survivors are already in the other side of the map, and with no teleport in hand, she can only use that CCTV skill to try to contain this gate and also camp the Seer at the same time.
Yeah, and 2 survivors will get out the gate here. That is going to be a tie, which means MP does win round number 1 here. Potter's played this really well. It's just he had the wrong build. You can't play up down. You can't play up down blink when you need a win. That is a tie. That is a tie heavy build. Up down blink is a build that's built for ties. You have good chase with fast pallet breaking speed and confined space. You have detention for the end game. You have blink for early game. You also have blink for detention with end game as well. So you play for 2 kills with that build. Potter's needed 4. So up down blink here doesn't work. I'm really surprised he opted to bring that. As soon as we saw fast pallet breaking speed, I expected trump card. That would have made a lot more sense. It's more aggressive. It's less conservative, but you can't play conservative there. That was a very conservative build. He needed to play aggressive, and it just did not work out there because he went too conservative with the build. Still played the match very well, considering that it was a very good, strong survivor team on a very strong survivor-sided map. But of course, MP is going to get 2 survivors out the gate here, and they will be taking round number 1 7-2. A lot of pressure on WP to try to turn things around, especially now that MP does have that map selection.
Yes, now I think for MP, having the map selection is going to be really good because I believe they might choose Moonlit River since they know to work well with a roller coaster. And I think if they choose that, the Moru can bring out the either Breaking Wheel or another Bonbon, of course. So either way of those is going to work quite safe, I would say, for MP if they choose Moonlit River. However, there's other better maps on the line, like Ever Sleeping, and knowing as Moru being a Breaking Wheel main, Moonlit River and Ever Sleeping will both work really well.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see the overall match stats here. Of course, you're having that the most decoding overall there. Not really being chased too much up until the end game there, of course. Acrobat being the first target with that Priestess support there, and the Owl. We did have a 96 seconds overall containment time for the Acrobat, which was, of course, the difference maker there, allowing for that draw there. Sacred Heart Hospital, again, such a strong map. You can only say it so many times, but it really is important. Mercenary, of course, for the very clean rescue as well. Very scary going for rescue, even against a non-full presence Sculptor. Mercenary still doing an excellent job there and allowing MP to get out the exit gate. Again, Potter's kind of putting himself on the back foot by using that draw build. It did not work out for him, but at least got the tie here, minimized the damage as best as possible. It's only a 5-point game here. WP still has a chance to come back, but MP, of course, going in round number 2 in a very advantageous position. So a lot of pressure for WP here. Again, we mentioned Moonlit River Park. It's a very good map for MP. It's definitely something they want to consider, but it does play into Potter's Hunters as well. Plays into Geisha, plays into Wheel. So it's a bit of a challenge for MP as well because you are giving a very good map for WP. So I don't think WP would mind Moonlit, although it is a map that they do. It is a map that MP does prefer. So as you mentioned, Ever Sleeping could also work. It works great for Moru's Hunters. It works well for Sculptor. It's not bad for Bonbon. It works well for Wheel. The idea here for MP is they have to pick a map that's good for Wheel. The reason why is that forces, we are going to see, it looks like Cedric is coming in for Prince, that forces the survivors to ban Moru's Wheel. If you pick a map that's bad for Wheel, they don't have to ban Wheel. They can then ban Bonbon or Sculptor, and then Moru's losing. He's losing out on 2 Hunters. He's losing out on Wheel because it's about a Wheel map, and he's losing out on the Hunter that was banned from the survivors. So you have to pick a map that's good for Wheel, forcing WP to ban his Wheel, and then you have every other option available if you're Moru.
Yes, like you said, if they ban his wheel, we just saw the Bonbon. The Bonbon is really strong in this map, especially because he's a master of the blinks, or like we call it sometimes backstage, a blink cut. He never misses a blink, and he always managed to get those terror shocks on the blink on point. So Moro never disappoints with those. So I believe he's very confident with taking Bonbon in Moonlit River, as we saw yesterday. So I think either way, is the pressure is definitely going to be on the side of Potters, because Potters with the Geisha, even though it's a very strong hunter on Moonlit, you definitely need to time well those butterflies. And as being a big map, Geisha cannot really harass the ciphers as well as with other maps. So even though it will work well for downing a survivor, how will you harass the ciphers if unless you have teleport? And if you bring blink, then how will you harass the ciphers if you can just down a survivor but you cannot just harass the cipher? So it's definitely going to be a little bit of pressure on the hunters that Potters utilizes. So if they do ban his geisha, we might be seeing Potters being forced to just take a sculpture once again. And I think sculpture in Moonlit is actually not a bad hunter, it's actually quite good. So that would be maybe a game changer here for Potters, to just trick them into thinking he's gonna take a geisha and then going in for the sculpture instead. And that will also will go for work well. And then it will all go for the survivors too. Like what survivors will they choose to counter a sculpture in Moonlit River Park, Eli?
The thing is, I think they're less worried about Sculptor. Sculptor is very Moonlight River Park is one of the weaker maps for Sculptor. It's very open. It's very easy to dodge statues. It's very easy to transition kite. And it's very easy to take coaster to avoid the Sculptor. So I don't think the survivors are particularly worried about a Sculptor on Moonlit. It's just not a good map for Sculptor. So I think they're gonna be more worried about Geisha and Breaking Wheel. So I think that's definitely something they have to watch out for. I don't know what they're gonna opt to ban. They could go Geisha ban. They could go Wheel ban. But the problem is that going back to your geisha point, actually, I wanted to continue with that. So teleport geisha, as you mentioned, is very good for harassing cipher machines. Blink geisha is very good for early chase. It allows you to have a more secure down. The idea with Blink Geisha on Moonlit is that since Moonlit's so open, of course you're not going to be able to harass ciphers as well because of how widespread it is. Actually going to be Ever Sleeping Town, so they banned Moonlit. Very smart play for WP, as we talked about. MP loves that Moonlit River Park. They did not want to have to play into that. We are going to see Ever Sleeping. As I was saying, Geisha, Blink Geisha is okay as well because the map's so open. You can cut off the rescuer from a distance, hit them, then dash back to chair and stuff the rescue. So it's less about harassing ciphers, more about preventing rescues as Geisha. But Ever Sleeping Town is going to be interesting because now it kind of shifts the tides a little bit here in that Geisha is not bad on Ever Sleeping, but it also allows Sculptor to be played. Because again, we talked about Sculptor's not strong on Moonlit, but he is very strong. She is very strong on Ever Sleeping Town because of all the narrow alleyways. It allows for a lot of easy statue placements. Yes. And Sculptor can be very strong going into this matchup or going into this round here. So I think the idea here for WP is that they're hoping that the survivors are going to ban either Potter's Sculptor or Breaking Wheel, and then he's going to be able to play the other one, whichever one they don't opt to ban.
Yes, if they ban this his Breaking Wheel, then he'll definitely play either Bonbon or Wax Artist because he mains both very well. So either one is perfectly fine for Moru. I'm more worried about the WP Hunter side because, like you say, if he brings a Geisha, if they know the Geisha works well in this map, they will ban the Geisha and he would just be forced to bring Sculpture. But we just saw a Sculpture match against the Mad Penguin survivors. They definitely know how to utilize that terrain. And the combo they use between the Acrobat and the Mercenary, the early kites that LC did in the beginning of the match, really buying so much time, distancing himself from the crucial kiting areas and forcing those pallets down on the Hunter, bought so much time and definitely mess up with the tempo early on game. And you know, Eli, that is so important in the beginning of the match, who takes the first kite and who manages to get the Hunters on the Hunter nerves and try to go for that. And if you don't get as a Hunter a survivor down and there's still 4 ciphers remaining, you start feeling the pressure regardless. So I think that was an amazing mind game from LC, the Acrobat, coming in very strong, taking the first kite very confident, plus the Priestess portals and everything just added up for the survivors of MP in taking the sculpture around the map quite well. And I think that's one of the things that could be very dangerous if they do the same thing in Ever Sleeping. So I want to ask, what do you think it will be another combo that we will be see coming from MP? We saw Acrobat, Mercenary, Forward, Priestess. What do you think will be another good combo to counter as Sculpture in Ever Sleeping?
Well, considering that if Potters is able to play Sculptor and it's not banned, then that means the first two bans for Potters will probably be, obviously we see doesn't ban Seer. We'll probably see Forward and Priestess be the first two survivors that get banned, which means the survivors will then probably, based off what we've seen so far, probably go Mercenary Acrobat. They don't seem to want to lock in Seer. They may also potentially go for the Batter. We know that is an option for MP. Batter's not a bad character on Ever Sleeping for support, even against something like a Sculptor. So that's definitely an option. So we could definitely see Batter support coming in, very crucial here. Entomologist support is going to be very relevant as well. I don't know if that's something that MP wants to potentially try to push, but it could definitely work very strong in Ever Sleeping. Again, a lot of narrow alleyways allows for the B support to be very strong. Sculptor struggles heavily against Entomologist support. So considering that we're not going to be able to see Priestess being utilized 100%, there's no reason for Potters not to ban Priestess. It has to be something a little bit more non-conventional, again, such as that Batter or the Entomologist.
Yes, LC actually is a Batter main, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if he decides to bring his Batter out this time. So he has a lot of good stunners under his hand. But we'll see Moru here ready to pick the first survivors here to ban. I'm gonna go really quickly through the chat. We're gonna see Akihiro, TN, Maini, Aurora, Miss, Jules, Kino, officially new, Nico, Junis, and Vanilla King. You guys are here on the first row seats, ready to see the ban phase, beginning with MP Moru banning, just like you say, Eli, the Forward and the Priestess.
Yep, and we are going to see Breaking Will banned here as well, which means the survivors most likely, based on what we've seen, of course, Mercenary Seer would be fine lock-ins, Mercenary Acrobat, probably something like that. And it looks like, yeah, I think that's Mercenary Acrobat. Unless that's a Seer, I'm not sure. We're going to have to see that in a second. They're still deciding on their character selections here, but that would definitely make the most sense here as Mercenary Acrobat. And it looks like it is going to be, yeah, Mercenary Acrobat is going to be locked in here. So now what is Moro ban next? We don't really know what Moro's opting to play here. As you mentioned, Wax Artist is an option. Bonbon's an option. We might see something like Sculptor as well. If we are going to see any of the Chip Hunters, we're less likely going to see the Seer get banned. If we are going to see Seer get banned, most likely if there's going to be a Wax Artist. But again, Moro has such a large lead to work with that you have so much versatility to go with many different options here. And we saw Moro ban Entomologist last round. I definitely think that would be a perfectly fine ban here in this situation as well. And there it is.
Yes, and Entomologist, like you said, a must ban in this map. And then letting in the Acrobat and the Mercenary, definitely going to be able to see maybe a Magician, since we know that WP main Magician as well. What are your thoughts on Magician? Actually, someone called Jogi asked me that to ask you, why are your thoughts on Magician?
Joggy asked me that. He's one of my friends. He asked me that literally every single day, and I tell him the same thing. But honestly, Magician is okay. He's not incredibly strong. He's okay. But he does struggle against Chip Hunters, Sculptor, and Bonbon. Magician is not very strong against. He would be good against something like a Wax Artist, but I don't think the survivors are necessarily preparing for that. Patient here is very, very strong for WP. Patient is very good transition kiter. And what counters Bonbon and Sculptor? Transition kiting. So Patient is going to be a very relevant kiter here. I really like that lock-in for the survivors here. What's the last ban going to be here for Moro? Is he going to ban maybe like a decoder, like a mechanic? Enchantress. Okay, so this is actually very smart here because Enchantress also very good against Bonbon, very good against Sculptor. So Moro is completely eliminating any one of those options. Any of those options for countering Chip Hunters. The last survivor pick here, I don't actually know what we're going to see here. It looks like Psychologist, which is interesting because Psychologist isn't too strong against... Oh, we're actually going to see Geisha. This is interesting here from Moro. Moro allowed Patient to come out here so he could potentially go Geisha. Of course, Geisha is very strong. Oh, no, maybe Bloody Queen as well. But Bloody Queen's really weak against this team comp. I'd be surprised if we actually see Bloody Queen.
Yeah, Bloody Queen is extremely strong early game, but we'll see a Geisha after all. Moru's Geisha guys coming in. Yes, against both the Patient and the Psychologist, like you said, it is definitely going to be something refreshing to see because Geisha is a one-hit hunter, and with no flywheel on the map, then it's going to be quite good to see how will they utilize the skills of skill check and not leaving that Geisha early presence on so early because at the beginning of the match, when the geisha doesn't have the super fast dash, it is relatively easy to kite her. But once she gets the full speed dash, then it's almost impossible to stop her. So Geisha is also one of the few hunters that can make a tie into an all kill because of the fast speed that she got late game. So Eli, I think that's something to watch out for because even though we mentioned that Geisha is relatively a tie hunter, we could be surprised, Eli, seeing maybe a hunter that can make a tie to an all kill. So definitely we need to keep an eye on this Morus Geisha coming in very strong, ever sleeping town.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes sense here. Geishas, it's difficult because you have 3 characters that are good against Geisha, but then 1 that's weak. So Patient is not a very strong kiter against Geisha. Because basically how that works is Patient uses the hook, Geisha immediately dashes to catch up and close that distance. Whereas with Psychologist, 3 hits against a single hit hunter is very good. Acrobat, very good kiter against Geisha because if Acrobat picks up a butterfly, he can hold his bomb and while looking at the Geisha and hold what we call an infinite skill check. So that's really strong for the Acrobat. If the Geisha does dash, Acrobat can also just bomb before the Geisha can swing. Acrobat is very strong kiter against Geisha if utilized properly. So I think that this is an interesting choice here for Moru. Of course, they did force the wheel ban by going Ever Slipping Town here. Mad Penguins did, but yeah, Moru definitely still has an uphill battle ahead, and also the Enchantress ban makes sense for Geisha as well. Enchantress is a very strong counter to Geisha. Every time they use those dashes, you can single stun, get to the other side of a pallet, and kite out the dash. So yeah, Moru definitely has an uphill battle here. If he finds anybody but the Patient, he is going to have a difficult chase.
Yes, once the Geisha cancels the the hook from the Patient, that could be detrimental. So let's see the spawn right here coming in from the middle of the map, and then we'll see where going ahead. Everyone is already transitioning away, and we'll find the ideal target coming in very strong. This Geisha, very fast in walking mode. We'll see who she finds first. Still not yet able to choose the first target, but the Acrobat coming in quite taking the initiative right first to go for the first kite. Let's go, Eli.
Yeah, he's gonna find the Acrobat. Goes for the swing right away. Acrobat just didn't use the bomb. Interesting choice there. He's gonna go for the dash. He is gonna get stopped by the firebomb there. And he does have slow pallet breaking speed as well. So nicely placed firebomb. But yeah, the Acrobat. Oh, now he has the Patient. And this is what we talked about. So this is the perfect chase target for the Geisha here. We are going to see Psychologist most likely go for a heal onto the Acrobat. We're going to see him drop that. Does he go for a hook here to try to kite this out? No, he just eats the hit there. Does not hook. Now he's going to use it, but the distance is going to get close fast, and he kites right to where this other character is getting killed. Oh, excellent skill check. He's going to go ahead and stop that dash there, creating some more distance, but now he's kiting through 2 Cypher machines to do so. The Cypher progress is going to be incredibly slow here for WP. This is not ideal. He can hook off the pole into Graveyard here. Beautiful hook there. He is going to close the distance. No, he messed up the butterfly. So this is going to keep the distance here for the Patient. Still has another hook to work with, but Blink now online for more. This should be a very quick down, and there is the Blink to secure the kill.
Yes, exactly. As we saw earlier, was the Tension and Trump card build, which is a very common build for Geisha, especially if you want to get an all kill. You can swiftly change traits, either from Blink to Teleport or from Blink to Abnormal. So it's going to be how it's going to be more changing the trait anytime from now. After he utilized the Blink, he's definitely gonna camp this chair in the graveyard, one of the most farthest chairs to come. But now Mercenary Hermione coming in quite at a good time, getting a smooth rescue, and now Moru is coming in very strong, trying to farm this Patient right here, and now is going to use the hook, try to hook away, and immediately getting out of range from Moru.
Yeah, and you see, obviously, he's not able to take Trend because of that Tide Turner. Can he actually get to a pallet here? It looks like no. Patient is going to go ahead and go down here. Cypher progress is okay, but again, the problem is that the first kite was long enough for a win. If the Patient didn't kite on Cyrus, he kited through 2, so 2 Cypher machines were incredibly delayed, and that is what's going to cost the Survivors a win here. They had a winning position, but all of a sudden it is a tie because of that. Will we see a rescue here? Most likely no, based off of the current position of the Survivors. It looks like we're going to see Psychologists running into the Geisha. Yeah, showing themselves to distract, but that doesn't really work because now Acrobat gives a free hit. And I guess Acrobat can make the rescue, so Oh, let's hope they can make the rescue. Looks like it is able to get that save off with Tide Turner, but it's just going to be a... We're going to see a body block, a double hit. The Cypher progress, not enough. They haven't even started the last Cypher yet, so I don't really understand the idea behind rescuing here. I guess they're trying to play as aggressive as possible, but this patient needs to kite an entire Cypher machine.
Yes, another bomb on the geisha, slowing her down quite a bit, but now there's a patient with no hooks, and this area is quite difficult to kite with no hooks, and there's almost no pallet. There's only one pallet here. Going to try to mind game the geisha in here, taking the butterfly, but not being able to skill check, and now coming down here, and it will be flying first. And here there's going to be also an acrobat that died quite too close to the geisha, so it's going to be very difficult here for the survivors to do that cipher rush that they really need to do right now. There's still 2 ciphers remaining, like you said. So at the same time, we have the only survivor that hasn't been injured is the psychologist. So she's going to be the ideal one to come for that long distance rescue, since the acrobat died in quite a bit far place from the teammates.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to see Mercenary trying to hide out here. That last Cypher machine is almost prime. So again, I mean, the situation is drawn, but it didn't really make sense. It's way harder than it needed to be. The survivors didn't need to play that aggressively. We're going to see Mercenary go for this teleport back to the chair. The problem with this is that he's going to try to body block. No, he's going to hit him back here. The problem with this is you waste teleport, and they can still make the rescue anyways. So Mercenary can elbow pad away. Acrobat can bomb away here. Let's see, can he get the Acrobat? Needs to go for the bomb. He doesn't bomb. The Acrobat doesn't bomb, and he's going to go down because of it. So a huge misstep here from the Acrobat, and now he can simply trade the Acrobat, change targets to the Mercenary, and all of a sudden Moro maybe will have a 3-person elimination situation here. No teleport available. Of course, he did already waste that. He's going to try to close the distance here. Acrobat, it's kind of a foot race between the Geisha and the Acrobat. Can he make it to that exit gate in time? It will be open, between the Mercenary and the Geisha, but it does have an elbow pad. He can simply just go to the dungeon here, and this is going to be a tie here. So a huge misstep, unfortunately, for the Acrobat, but the survivors still were able to get the bare minimum, which is a draw here for WP, and at least kind of keeps them in this match.
Yes, that was such a clutch dungeon escape coming in from the Mercenary. Once again, the elbow pad, the mighty elbow pad that helped you end game was kept, and that is so important. That's what's so important, guys. When the survivors are forced the item so early on, then they are left with nothing at the end game, then you have less chances to get dungeon. So I think that was so important for the Mercenary, that even though the Acrobat was insta-kill after the Cypher pop, he managed to change routes, and instead of going straight for the gate, he decided to go just for the dungeon. And this also shows a good team communication from WP, clutching that dungeon escape as well, because if he gets stopped by the dash from the Geisha, he will just instantly die there. Yeah, and it's so powerful, Eli, when you see a Geisha with full speed downing you right at the gate, and in case he didn't bring sticker, he probably wouldn't be able to crawl out. And we have seen that happen in matches so often, when they down the survivor at the gate and he's unable to get out. That is just so clutch. So I think this was really smart move from the Mercenary to keep that elbow pad until the end.
Yeah, and we are going to see the overall containment time here. Of course, I think that's 110 seconds from the patient. But of course, it was multiple rebound kites, and we talked about the second rescue. It didn't make sense for WP. I think in that situation as a survivors, of course, Geisha is a hard hunter to do this against. But when you're in a drawn position, it's better to try to conserve your items, conserve your health, and try to have a endgame kite to dungeon. As soon as you go for that rescue there, the Cypher progress, it's nowhere near enough, so there's no reason to try to push that rescue. Because, again, Patient's just going to go down in Graveyard. Acrobat had to waste a bomb to get the rescue. He is going to get shared there, the rescue. At the end, there was just way too close. If the survivors save their items, save their health, and just push Cypher machines, they could have 3 survivors up at the exit gates, all with a bunch of items to work with. And you put yourself in a situation where you could potentially kite to dungeon. As long as Psychologist is not the one kiting, Acrobat has bombs to work with, Mercenary has elbow pads to work with. Multiple elbow pads, probably at least 2 there, and the dungeon kite's a lot easier, and maybe they can go for a 3 survivor escape there instead of only 2. And that's, again, you have to understand when to rescue and when not to rescue. WP's first rescue was perfectly fine. That was okay. Mercenary made a very nice save. It allowed the patient to potentially rebound kite, but the patient had no hooks. There's no way patient can rebound a second time there against a full presence Geisha. Acrobat can use the slow bomb, but it doesn't do anything. There's not enough time. Acrobat's already been double hit. He's going to go down in a few seconds, and the last Cypher machine was not even started. There's no way a patient's going to be able to rebound that long without hooks. So, especially against a full presence Geisha. So that is kind of the downside there. You have to know when to not rescue. Of course, unfortunately, WP went for that save. Still able to get the draw, which is the bare minimum, but they potentially could have played for a strong endgame 3 escape instead if they had been a little bit more conservative.
I totally agree with you because the moment we saw that Ada, the psychologist, had the Wanter order on her, she immediately tried to use that to her advantage and lure the geisha toward where she was coming. But Moru didn't buy it, and he immediately was camping right in between both sides, so he will see the acrobat coming as well. So he immediately got a hit on the psychologist, and then he went directly for the acrobat. So I think that was one of the things that definitely mattered here. The fact that Moru, no matter what, he didn't believe just what he knows, which is the psychologist being Wanter order, but he also was sure that there was someone else coming, and in this case was the acrobat, and as one of the things that ensured this tie coming in for sure, because if not, he could have easily get a 3-man kill. So that's one of the things that Moro did so well, was to believe in his hunter senses and don't leave the chair from any spot coming in, either left or right. Always look if anyone is coming. And I think that's one of the things that hunter mains have, which is the amazing hunting instinct that let them just come really well. Because imagine if the acrobat gets that sneaky rescue and nobody gets a hit, and then that will buy so much extra time for the survivors to manage to get a 3 survivor escape or even a 4 survivor escape. So I think, like you said, that was the most crucial moment that Moro did so well, camping that chair and avoiding anyone from getting a free rescue so easily on him.
Yeah, and not only that, it's also that chair, the graveyard chair inside graveyard. It's such a good camping chair because again, there's only 2 ways to get to graveyard. Well, technically there's 3. You have to go either towards the through the window, or you can go through 2 of the other entrances. But the problem is the geisha can simply stand near the window and just look at all 3 places, and you can see any survivor trying to enter because of how open it is. That's why that chair is so strong. You can cut off any rescuer at any point, especially as a geisha. So, we saw Moro use that perfectly, and that was really just an upside for them. Of course, they weren't able to stuff any rescues, but they still were able to cut off the rescuers. They were still able to apply enough pressure where the survivors had no chance to get a 3 escape in the end game. And of course, Acrobat, just mistiming that ball at the end there did not allow them to kite in the end game, so it was just very difficult. So now looking into the second half of this round here, this is where things get really challenging for WP. Potters needs to at least get a tie, right? So if you get a tie here, you go to a last round, but then you're still down 5 points, so you're already in a terrible position even if you get a tie. So Potters, the goal here for Potters is try to win, try to get 3 survivors eliminated. But again, NP has played this very well. This is the map that they selected, which means they're gonna be comfortable here. What does Potters play? We're probably gonna see either Sculptor or Breaking Wheel get banned. Geisha is a hunter that's okay for 3 kills. Actually, what's really nice here for Potters is he has a lot of hunters that have 3 kill potential, right? You have Geisha, which is a tie hunter, but also has win potential, getting that extra kill. You have Sculptor and you have Breaking Wheel. All those hunters strong on this map, all have win potential. So Potters isn't necessarily in a bad spot, but really needs to play well if WP wants a chance in this match.
Yes, we'll see that Potters is going to have to play in this map together with, I think we might see a mirror match, Eli. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another geisha in Ever Sleeping, just because he just saw Moru's geisha. He wants to show off his geisha as well. And I think the important thing here is going to be the ban phase, because if they do ban his geisha right out of the bat, it's going to be difficult for him. But at the same time, he still got Sculpture under his sleeve. So Potters, once again, he needs to try to make the magic happen. And I see a lot of people also like that Potters have the team. WP has a lot of Harry Potter names. So yeah, that is one of the cool things about WP. But once again, we see first the forward and the batter bans coming in from Potters. And very interesting, Eli, they banned an X-Boy. So I think that's definitely a ban that we didn't expect coming in from MP. But yeah, let's see how they make it work, because now there's a geisha and a Sculpture that could potentially come out. So that will be very good to see if a geisha can come out too.
Not only that, there's also a Breaking Wheel. I mean, they didn't ban Breaking Wheel, so now, now Potters has everything. You just ban Seer, you play Wheel, and Potters has a great spot. I mean, you just eliminated the three of the best characters for going. I mean, MP is giving Potters so much room to work here. I mean, this is just really risky from them. So we're gonna see Entomologist, last ban probably Acrobat or Patient, and now it's just like, I mean, now it's just Potters plays wheel. Like, unless Potters doesn't play wheel, and we're just or maybe it's something he's not comfortable with, and we just don't know. But as far as we know, Potters can play wheel. He's just gonna again ban Patient Acro here. One of the two most likely. Patient. Last character probably Acrobat, and then you just play wheel. Wheel's gonna play well against this comp. With no seer, no batter, no forward, you have no support for dealing with a fragile hunter such as the breaking wheel. This is just so difficult here for the survivors. If Potters plays this well. Of course, Ever Sleeping Town, a very good wheel map as well. What's the last pick going to be here? Yeah, it's going to be Acrobat. So they just go Acrobat. And as far as I know, Potter's just going to play wheel. Just play wheel here. You don't really want to play Geisha. Geisha's really, if they go Acrobat, Geisha gets hard countered. Nightmare, maybe? That's... I personally would say that's a really bad idea. Okay, we're gonna see breaking wheel. I got scared for a second. That was not looking too good for Potters. We are gonna see wheel. Yeah, Potters just plays wheel into this comp.
Yes.
This might be really strong for him. I don't know about this decision here from MP not taking Seer.
Yes, I think at the beginning we saw like a seer in jail once again, but yeah, anyway, Potters is going to take up Breaking Wheel. He's one of the best hunters in this map if you may ask me, but this combo though from Zero as Mercenary and LC Priestess and Anomaly and Entomologist and Rie as Acrobat is actually super strong. Eli is one of the strongest teams combos that we see often in this tournament. If the Entomologist gets found first, we just use the Beast to kite around the map very well, taking those window vaults and putting honey everywhere to vault even faster. So it's going to be really interesting how Potters decides either to bring Blink or just go for another build. But I think Blink should be the one he definitely should bring, because in order to down the first survivor fast, you definitely need to time that Blink so well. So I think Potters bringing the Blink is crucial for getting the survivor down really early on the match.
Yeah, of course. That's very important. It's just like, yeah, again, just breaking wheel here. It's just with no, I mean, literally the five best characters for going against a wheel, with the exception of Priestess, is forward, batter, seer, patient, and the Priestess. So they do have Priestess available, but the other four are gone. Patient, such a good transition kiter against wheel once he's out of wheel form. Seer can farm owls very easily, and then batter and forward support is just so crucial. So, I mean, Potters is just, he has kind of the dream bans here for a breaking wheel. Going to this upstairs two-story here, trying to find the location of the closest survivor. Looks like it is going to be the Entomologist here. Can simply drop down here, try to push the Entomologist a spike on here before they're able to reach the graveyard. Goes for that speed up. Does he get the spike onto the Ento? No, that didn't register. Wow, that was a really unlucky play there for Potters. I really don't know how that didn't hit there. And now he's going to try to find a survivor worth chasing, but graveyard, you can't chase here if you're Potters. You have to change targets, and he does acknowledge that. Immediately heading towards Corner House, which is the location of the Acrobat. Probably not a bad chase target at all if he's able to get a spike early here.
That was so close. Forcing Potters to transition away. That was so good for Entomologist. And now Acrobat taking this guy again. The trap was a little bit far. It cannot trap the Acrobat on time. And he will have a free transition to this pallet area, forcing Potters to go again into wheel form. And this is going to be a very good area for Acrobat to kite. And again, there's another trap right there that the Acrobat decide not to eat. And going in for the portal from the Priestess. And this is what you were talking about, Ila. Portals in this map are just so helpful and elongating that kite for so long and going to one of the best areas, the Beast coming in trying to help and delay Potters in, but he will take this portal. And this one of the things, Eli, that you say, that Priestess doesn't really counter breaking wheel and sometimes even aids him, but at the same time it does the same for the survivors. So we see here the synergy coming in from Acrobat and Priestess so strong and taking Potters around for sightseeing around Ever Sleeping.
Oh, well, Priestess definitely counters breaking wheel views properly. I mean, we're seeing that here, obviously. He's going to go for that swing, probably try to go for the blink there. No, he does not go for it. I mean, the Acrobat just continuing to make distance. There's the blink, does get the down here. LC is going to go down there and did waste a bomb, so maybe not a great use of the bomb there, but 3 Cypher machines already about to be completed, plus another one 50% of the way done. And we're going to see him get placed on the rocket chair here for the first time, so... yeah, I mean, just the Priestess support was so crucial. So, you know, again, Potters, again, had the dream bans, except for the Priestess. Again, we talked about the 5 best characters for going against a well. Priestess was one of them, and it is proving to be very crucial here. We're going to see him go ahead and get that rescue onto the acrobat here. He's going to go for 2 spikes on the acro instead of just going out and going for the swing here. The bees are waiting nearby here. Potters doesn't want to get out of wheel form. Oh, he misses that as well, and the bees are here to push him back. The portal is already set up here. He has to land the trap at the portal, and he's not able to do it there. Is going to go ahead and break it. Has to go back into wheel form, and this position is 100% winning for the survivors. We see the acrobat does not opt to go upstairs 2-story because the cipher machine is being decoded. He will go down here to the snap, but it doesn't matter. The last 2 cipher machines already have been started here. We are going to see one more rescue most likely. Full presence is available, so that gives him a little bit of extra camp here. Oh, but he dies near Geisha, which is one of the cipher machines the survivors need to pop. Is this the 30% cipher, or is it the 70% one? If it's the 70% one, this is okay. If it's the 30% one, which I think it is, they may not have enough time to finish all of the cipher machines to win the game here.
Yes, it is indeed the 30%, Eli. So now Entomology is going to try to avoid getting the spikes while someone else is coming in for a sneaky rescue and going in behind the wall. Very smart to avoid the spikes, since we know that the long spikes only have 5 seconds. So now we see the acrobat going in this big area. Ooh, nice portal right there. And now going to try to get the window, but no, avoiding the spike. Ooh, getting the spike in. Once again, using a bomb to avoid the normal ability from the breaking wheel. And Priestess will do nice body block right there, buying some extra time for the acrobat. Even though he has 1 spike in, the breaking wheel gonna try to get close enough to get the snap on. Acrobat knows this, and he's just transitioning away as fast as he can. And now Potter is forcing to go back into wheel form. Getting 1 more spike on the acrobat is very crucial. There's no more window here to vault though, so acrobat is in very difficult situation. It's kind of trapped in here, and the machine will be popped right after immediately. Eli, this is so fast right now.
Yeah, he's gonna go for the. I mean, the only chance here for Potter. Oh, gets the trap. Okay, so he gets the quick down. He doesn't really have enough time to chair. He's gonna go for the chair, but I expect them to have this gate open. Yeah, it looks like Mercenary and Priestess, both gates almost open. We're going to see the Entomologist follow shortly behind. All 3 survivors out the gate here, and that is going to be the win for MP. 3 out the gate. Of course, they needed to get at least a tie, and MP is going to take this 2-0 here. A very swift victory for them there. Again, Potter's only chance was to leave the Acrobat Slug, try to push for the exit gate. Didn't go for it, and MP is going to be advancing here with a 2-0 victory over WP.
Congratulations, MP, for winning against this super good professional team as well, WP. Both of you guys play so well. Kudos for WP for going against these Mad Penguins, which are actually veterans for a tournament, and WP being the first time playing competitively, even though they're veteran players of IDV, is the first time coming in as a tournament. So I think it's very good to give kudos to WP. Actually show us so many good plays, and also the Harry Potter team, everyone loved it. So definitely, guys, keep going. This is just your first tournament, so things are definitely going to get better. Everyone is here just to get a little bit more of experience in the tournament competitive. So I think it's really good that what we saw, Eli, is all a learning process, and I think WP definitely tried their best. And like you said, some of the things that sometimes the Survivor Hunter did was not like we often see, like some of the picks, like Dancer pick, was not the most conventional things we see. But also this is all about to try new things and also improve. And at the same time, I believe that kudos definitely for MP, Hunter and Survivor, for getting the first win of the day.
Yeah, actually, excellent job from MP. Again, you know, we talked about on paper, MP is going to have the advantage going into this match, of course, being, you know, having a lot more tournament experience in the past compared to WP. I mean, they play, you know, of course, WP played well. They took some, you know, non-conventional strategies, and they took risks, which is something you have to do to beat a strong team like Mad Penguins, but did work out in Mad Penguins' favor. You know, just to revisit the first matchup, of course, Sacred Heart Hospital, the first round pick for WP, and the goal there for them was that Potters can go for a 3-survivor elimination, and the survivors can tie Moru's Bonbon. It didn't work out. Moru was able to get 4 survivors eliminated, and it just worked right into the favor of Mad Penguins. We're going to see the final match stat here, of course. The overall containment time, 145 seconds here for the Acrobat, and that's just the support of the survivors. You see the rest of the survivors, hardly any of them kited. They didn't have to, because the Priestess support was so crucial. Again, we talked about Priestess being one of the 5 characters that counters Breaking Wheel. Potters was able to eliminate 4 of them, but the 5th one being the game changer here. Of course, the Acrobat's Kai was strong, but the MVP of this match, it may not look like it in the statistics, but it was that Priestess.
Yes, I think the support that Priestess brought since the beginning of the match, putting those portals really long, and you saw it, the longer the portal, the longer the stun. So that is very important here, that the Priestess utilized the architecture of the map to use those walls and buy so much distance. And you see the ultimate place for either kiting or containing was always the graveyard, because Breaking Wheel has such a hard time in that window area of the graveyard, so he has to bring the build of confined space, because otherwise they will be able to look in for quite a bit of a time. And at the same time is also the fact that he needs to also get close enough to the survivor to snap them, and the Acrobat knew that so well that the moment he knows that Breaking Wheel can snap, he bought so much distance, forcing Potter's Breaking Wheel to go back into wheel form, and that buying so much time. And the moment he saw that, they just popped the Cypher. It was so fast, so swiftly, and I think that's one of the things that MP survivors know how to handle really well. They know how to handle the Breaking Wheel, and they take advantage of the kiting areas.
Yeah, so the big play there was the Acrobat was able to hit the Firebomb on the wheel to cancel the full presence. That was the big play. If you notice over at the graveyard area, they had that Geisha Gate Cypher about 50-60% of the way done. Breaking Wheel got out of wheel form to go for a full presence on the Acrobat. He could have just snapped him and shared him right away and had a drawn position. But the Acrobat hit the Firebomb onto the wheel, canceled the full presence, and then the Priestess was able to body block the hit, which means Acrobat didn't go down. And because there was a Firebomb and only one spike on the Acrobat, he was not going to go down to a snap anytime soon. And that did allow them to prime that last Cypher machine. That was the big game changer. And that's why Acrobat can be a pretty decent character against Wheel, because you can go for that Firebomb play. Typically, the Breaking Wheel is easily able to hit you right after. But if you have that God Window graveyard to work with, and you have a body blocker, in that case the Priestess, then the Acrobat can cancel the full presence if done properly, which they were able to do here. And I expect we're going to see, we're going to look at the MVP here, and it is going to be LC. The Acrobat, again, you know, a very strong kite from the Acrobat overall. In my personal opinion, the MVP is 100% the Priestess there. The Acrobat simply utilized the portals to perfection. But, you know, of course, the overall communication is very crucial as well. So good communication between the Acrobat and the Priestess to pull off an excellent kite with support there.
Yes, indeed. It requires two to make a tango. So in this case, we saw the perfect dance between two survivors and the Breaking Wheel, taking the Breaking Wheel on a dance around the map. And that was so nice to see the synergy between Acrobat and Priestess, especially LC. Being the stunner of the team, he knows the kiting route so well, because as we see before, he knows how to utilize the bombs perfectly well and time it extremely at the point to avoid the Breaking Wheel to get full presence. And that's exactly what they needed. When they had the machine primed, they pop it right in the most crucial moment, where not even others knew that the machine could be primed, because sometimes they prime the machine only to the point that to give the hunter the sense of safety, that there are still two machines left. But then when suddenly they pop both at the same time, or they just pop one and then immediately pop the second one, that could definitely get the hunter a little bit out of place. And I think that's one of the things that I see teams very often do. They try not to pop them so fast, but at the same time they already get it ready. But that's definitely a little bit of high tier gameplay, because they're trying to play with the mind of the hunter, and they're trying to mind game the hunter to believe there's more time left. Well, actually there's not, and that's something that could mess up with the tempo of the hunter player in this case.
Yeah, again, well done to MP here. We're going to go to a short break here. We will have the next matchup for you guys in a moment, so stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, and we'll see you guys after the break.
Young bamboo shoots could brave the bitter cold of winter, graceful and serene in the face of adversity.
Father, you taught us that the Xiao family must act like bamboo in the winter, unruffled and composed. But what if the powerful seek our downfall? What good is our composure if evil goes unpunished? Forgive me, I must defy our mantra. What?
She's but a girl. What does she hope to accomplish?
Race to the family.
Was I the one who brought this misfortune?
Chi.
No, I mustn't hide. For the Xiao family, for vindication, and for her safe return. I knew this was a life of hardship, a life of uncertainty and diligence. My only option is to press onward and tread the unknown. The Xiao family must act like bamboo in the winter. Unflinching and steadfast in the face of adversity.
With steam dense as a veil, and wine sweet as honey, one can't help but relax at the hot spring. Return to basics. Surrender restraints. Relinquish thyself. Like the eagle plummeting straight down, lusting for lambs, hating all lamb souls. Bathed in the spring, we drink. We worship. We indulge.
Place at its finest. In July they came, and met in August. For flowers they were named. They stayed and dwelt in September, bathing in the sun. Oh, sway, she let down her guard. Grow, lurking datura,
Guys, welcome to our IVC group stage, day 3, and here I am together with Soy Milk and Eli, bringing you the casting for the rest of the night. How you feeling, Eli? Our first matches were really exciting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Very close matchup between WP and MP. Of course, we did see MP coming out on top both rounds, only by a little bit, of course, in the first round. MP having 2 more survivors escaped, and then in the second round, we saw an excellent 3 survivor escape there from MP to secure the win over WP. They will be advancing to, I believe, now 2-0 in their group stage, if I'm not mistaken. And we are going to have our second match, RYU versus AX. These are, again, we talked about teams that we're more familiar with. You look at teams like GH, ZT, BL, MP. These are all teams that have a lot of tournament experience and a lot of skill coming into this event. RYU and AX, a little bit less familiar with, but we are going to see them again trying to battle it out for first place in that group stage, so you can advance to the next round of competition.
Yes, RYU, one of the teams that defeated LUV, and RYU has a very strong player right there, Sneaky, very well known from Koa 5. A lot of you guys might have heard the hunter named Sneaky. She's very good with Dream Witch, and Bloody Queen, and also that has a very decent geisha. So definitely going to see forward Sneaky's Dream Witch gameplay. And for AMX, we have seen them quite recently. They have a very good survivor lineup of stunners, with Enchantress, Patty coming in very strong, as well as Batter and Forward. So these are very, very strong teams. Both of them quite new to the competitive arena. So definitely looking forward to see what they have to bring to show us to the match. Just like you say, Eli, we have seen pro players and also new teams that have formed just to come to this Southeast Asia tournament. So it's definitely, we are very welcome to see all these teams that have gathered here to compete and see who got the best to bring for this tournament. So I'm really, really honored to be here, being one of the MCs for this IVC, and together with you, Eli, because we're going to watch some really, really good matches coming in. These two teams want to get the most points to be at the top of the group. So it's going to see the battle is going to be very harsh, Eli.
Yeah, of course. This is one of the biggest tournaments in the world. 128 teams originally entering, only one can win. So this is just it's again, you don't really see this. You don't even see this from arguably the most prestigious event is of course the COA Globals, which even then we only have usually less than 20 teams going into that. So 128 from the Asia region of Southeast Asia for the most part. We have teams from Malaysia. You have Philippines, Thailand, even teams from Japan coming over to make this event. And again, just the best of the best fighting it out here. RYU versus AX. As you mentioned, RYU, of course, having Sneaky, was on the team LUV back in the previous COA qualifiers. Unfortunately, I believe it knocked out in the semifinals to BL, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, BL did advance to go on and join COA 5, join GH in COA 5 Globals. But Sneaky, of course, had very good gameplay against a strong team like BL back then, and I expect to see something very excellent here as well against AX. Going into this matchup here, again, both of these teams, slightly less familiar to the competitive scene as something like MP, as teams like BL, GH, as we talked about before, but RYU does have that trump card again, as you mentioned, with Sneaky, a hunter that has been around competitive for quite some time and is going to be one of the stronger hunters in this event.
Yes, and we're gonna go right for some of the team's introduction right here. RYU Sneaky coming in with Sculptured, and then on the side of the AX Hunter is T-Lab, which also has a Dream Witch. So Eli, we're gonna be ready for two Dream Witch matches coming in. We might know Sneaky also is a Dream Witch main. So bringing Dream Witch on the first round is gonna be really exciting to see. Both teams have studied the Dream Witch quite well, so we expecting that survivors will know how to counter the Dream Witch really, really well from the beginning of the match. So the next one will be the strategy that we're gonna use against the Dream Witch. As we've seen, Psychologist and Barmaid are very strong survivors coming in against to counter Dream Witch. And as well, what other survivors do you think will work well to counter a Dream Witch on the first round?
I definitely expect that. I don't know if we'll see it out of the Southeast Asia region. It's less common from here. But a very good character for going against Dream Witch is Embalmer. We see this get utilized a lot over in China, especially in the China IVL here. Actually, a lot of the round one Dream Witch players will ban Embalmer because Dream Witch is a character that's extremely aggressive. It is currently the best hunter in the game by a wide margin. Has the most win potential out of any hunter in the game, and Embalmer is a character that allows the Dream Witch to, at best, really only play for ties if utilized properly. So, because how strong a tie character Embalmer really is. So Embalmer is actually a very good character for going against Dream Witch. In addition to that, we also have Acrobat, which is very good for cutting out the patrollers as well. Of course, the Acrobat bombs can cancel the patroller bites. We're going to see the two survivors here from both sides here. Wolfie of RYU being a mercenary player, and we also have I'm just going to say Sky for that forward player as well. But yeah, again, forward also, actually, this is a very good point. Forward being a very strong character against Dream Witch, it may not seem like it because you can simply use 2 leeches to prevent the stun from happening. But essentially, the reason why forward is so good against Dream Witch is because what Dream Witch likes to do is they'll down a survivor, camp the survivor on share with the spawn follower, and use the leech of the survivor on share to pressure a Cypher machine. But if you go for that strategy, forward can go for a stun on share, get a free rescue, and then forward creates pressure against Dream Witch, Forward makes it so Dream Witch does not have that extended Cypher control because they're forced to keep 2 leeches on the Survivor at share at all times, and it can no longer pressure the Cypher machines in that way, and the Survivors can then decode for free. So that's why Forward is actually such a very strong character against Dream Witch. It also prevents the Dream Witch from using the spawn follower to camp Cypher machines late game and trying to chase with only leeches, because the Forward can simply harass the 1 leech, because you have to have 2 leeches there if you want to be able to deal with the Forward, and it prevents the Dream Witch from having that Cypher pressure. So Forward is such a strong character against Dream Witch if utilized properly.
Exactly. And as we see, the survivor side from Ryu is Cake with Mercenary, and AX coming in with NX officially. Actually, yesterday he got a lot of praise by the utilization of Enchantress so well in Moonlit River Park map. So we're gonna see potentially a lot of Enchantress gameplay coming in from NX official. So he's a well-known stunner player, as well as the Ryu team. As you've seen, they have very strong tough guys play as a mercenary and forward. And also we saw Wolfie there. Wolfie is also a veteran player, tournament player from IDV. So looking forward to see that. Keeping going with Ryu Survivor, we see Lemon, who is also a prospector and a very good, also stunner, a very good stunner for the Survivor lineup, because we need those survivors that can stun and kite. And then from AX, we see Scythe with a lawyer. I think this show up of lawyer, it could be a little bit of maybe trying to trick the other side to think they will only play lawyer, but I believe they definitely got something else under their sleeve. Maybe another survivor like stunner. I wouldn't be surprised at all, because this is often also known as the team's mind game as well. You know, the ban phase, Eli, is so important at the beginning of the match to show what you can do, because we see, look, Eli, another mercenary coming in from Ryu, and I think it's something that the survivors definitely know how strong the ban phase is in this case. And from the next one will be AX Khaleesi or Khaleesi with the Seer main right here. So you're definitely going to see a very strong thing come from both sides. Really looking forward to see what they have to bring for today's match.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very exciting for sure. Again, you know, both these teams fairly evenly matched in that going into this matchup, they are, of course, you know, at the disadvantage of not having as much tournament experience. But again, the Hunter for RYU Sneak is going to be a very big game changer for that. So we'll see how AX is able to play against that, and how the AX Hunter can actually play against the RYU survivors as well. That's going to be very crucial. But yeah, getting into this round, in this situation here, as you mentioned, possibly both Dream Witches in round number 1. You know, and again, we're really surprised we haven't seen a lot of Dream Witches yet right away. It looks like Sacred Heart Hospital is banned again. You know, we talk about how Sacred, it's not a map that really ever gets picked. In fact, it probably will get banned more than it's picked. And it looks like it is, if I'm not mistaken, that's Chinatown. So Chinatown's actually interesting. Chinatown is okay for Dream Witch, but it's not exceptionally strong. Something like Ever Sleeping Town and Arms Factory would be a lot more viable. However, this is a very good map for Breaking Wheel, so maybe this is something that that these teams are considering. I expect that the Chinatown would benefit AX more than anything, because it puts them in a situation where if that Hunter on AX does play Wheel, they can potentially bring out Wheel and force Sneaky into playing Dream Witch on, you know, Chinatown, which isn't necessarily as strong.
Yes, and talking about Dream Witch, Eli, we talked about this before. When a hunter can main Dream Witch and Bonbon at the same time, it's going to be very difficult. Do you think one of these hunters also mains Bonbon?
Well, I know Sneaky does not. I'm not, again, we don't have too much information, unfortunately, on the AX Hunter. I don't believe from what we've seen in the data, but I mean, it's you know, potentially possible. We're going to see the first ban here. Depending on what they ban, will give us, again, a general idea of what Hunter they're opting to play. So I expect it's going to be most likely Priestess or Seer here. If it is a Seer ban, we're probably going to see something like a Dream Witch or a Breaking Wheel come out. If it is a Priestess ban, this could also work for Breaking Wheel. Less likely for Dream Witch, but again, in the Southeast Asia region, we have seen Seer kind of not being in the ban spot quite as often as we would see from other regions.
Yes, and also this map is not only good for the Mercenary, the Seer, the Forward, it's also a very good map for Toy Merchant. And as far as I know, RYU team has S badges Toy Merchant. So I think in this map, well utilized, a survivor like any Airplane Girl can definitely buy so much time throwing those items and putting those catapults in strategic places. As we've seen before, a very well utilized catapult can change the match. But so far, Eli, what we see is indeed the Seer ban, and is that a Toy Merchant ban as well?
Yeah, Toy Merchant ban, it's perfectly fine if it is going to be a breaking wheel here. Toy Merchant, of course, as you mentioned on this map, is quite strong. Oh, Psychologist is interesting. I don't know why we're seeing Toy Merchant. A Toy Merchant ban indicates a breaking wheel, and a Psychologist is there so you can play against Dream Witch, not at all against breaking wheel. So that's an interesting set of events here. We're going to see Mechanic as the last one, which, again, indicating towards breaking wheel more than anything, although we do see some Dream Witches ban Mechanic as well, because Mechanic, of course, being a very good tie survivor and tying a Dream Witch is always beneficial. The last lock in here most likely will be, okay, well, it's Acrobat, but and we are going to see, again, Dream Witch or breaking wheel. What is it going to be? It looks like it's going to be wheel. So again, the Psychologist pick doesn't really make any sense. That's why I was a little confused. You know, Toy Merchant ban means that you were almost certainly seeing a breaking wheel, right? Because Toy Merchant, very strong counter to breaking wheel, especially on this map. Toy Merchant not very strong against Dream Witch. So the Psychologist, you know, so we would expect to see breaking wheel, but then they go Psychologist. Psychologist, very weak against wheel. So an interesting set of lock-ins here for RYU. Let's see if it ultimately will come back to bite them here.
Yes, exactly. We see Lemon as Psychologist and NG as forward. Very, very strong survivors in this map. Against the wheel, like we've seen before, an Acrobat and a Priestess are a perfect combo, a perfect couple for you say, for countering the wheel. So it's going to be all about trying to get the hands on Lemon, which is a Psychologist. So the hunter is going to try to get the most ideal survivor, I think, is going to definitely have to be the Psychologist, because as you've seen in the previous matches, having those portals and those bombs very well placed is going to be very hard for early game. So Tilap, the hunter, needs to either bring Blink, and that will be really the thing that for a game changer for him to get an early down and be able to just harass the ciphers as well, because this map is known for having a little bit difficult of cipher harassment situation. So he definitely needs to set up the game and try to stop those ciphers from being popped as fast as usual.
Yeah, I mean, you could bring Blink, but we've actually seen a lot of these high-level teams will go Excitement to deal with the forward. Anytime there's a forward or a batter, in addition to some other character that has stunning potential, in this case, the Priestess, actually, you can Excitement through portals. We see a lot of these hunters bring Excitement. Now, I don't know how much we'll see that in Southeast Asia, but in Japan and China in particular, Excitement is a very key factor for the breaking wheel players. So we'll see if that actually is going to be the case or not here for the wheel. Again, we should be getting the match started shortly. Yeah, as you mentioned, forward, Priestess, and Acrobat, all strong characters for going into wheel. Psychologist is kind of just the outlier here. And I don't know if it's really going to be... I really don't know how it's going to play out. Again, Psychologist, you know, doesn't really want to get found. The way you deal with a breaking wheel is you have characters that are good at kiting the wheel outside of wheel form. Psychologist does not have that. So we're going to see the breaking wheel go into wheel from here, immediately rotating towards the middle of the map here, going towards the tables area. Actually, no, it looks like rotating towards theater and heading left over towards one of the two-story areas. Does find the forward first. It's actually okay to chase forward as a breaking wheel, because if you do down that forward, you don't have to deal with that harassment for the rest of the game.
Yes, definitely going to try to push the forward ball out early on to try to stop. Since we're not sure whether he brought Examine or Blink, most likely to bring Blink, but trying to get the spike on the forward is going to be a bit difficult because he's kiting so well at the beginning of the match. He just got one spike, going to this pallet, trying to put that pallet down so fast and getting in those traps, but no, forward utilizing the ball so early on, and now trying to throw this trap again, but with no chance, and getting in the wheel form once again to get those spikes on.
Yeah, the problem is, unfortunately, Ford used way too much football there. Because now what happens is you have two spikes, you just get out of wheel form, and the forward has very little football to work with. He's going to be able to make it through the portal, so a very nice support there to gain more distance. Another one, getting even more distance for the forward. And again, you see why breaking wheel struggles against Priestess. I mean, you know, it's becoming so apparent throughout these matches that Priestess is really the game changer. And now changing targets actually to the Priestess, it looks like. Priestess, no spikes are expecting him probably to go into wheel form as soon as this portal goes down. But now he's really trying to get a hit on this Priestess. And, I mean, he's going to be able to get at least one because of the slowdown here. Does have Blink available. But the Cypher progress, 2 already done. 1 at 50 here, and you've lost the forward. This is just a really good position for the RYU survivors.
He didn't see the forward there, the second floor, taking the spike out, but he's still going for that Priestess, like you said, going to try to follow the blood trail. With Blink on hand, Priestess probably is trying to force the skill very soon, because something the survivors don't know yet, whether he brought Blink or Excitement. So it's something here that T-Lab needs to hide really well, and going to just use it if it's necessary only. And now Priestess coming in and will go for the snap. That was extremely clutch, very close for the Priestess, almost able to run off, but no, Breaking will stop that, and now going back for harassing anyone who's coming close to the side, to the chair.
Yeah, the biggest problem here is they have 3 ciphers above 50, so they have the cipher progress to win the game, and without full presence, there's really no chance at stuffing any rescues. It looks like we're going to have Wolfie, the Acrobat, coming for the rescue. I expect Acrobat and Forward to be the 2 tide turner characters. He's able to make that rescue there. Priestess gonna go ahead, try to transition away. Probably gonna use the blink right here. Does get the blink, does secure the down on the Priestess, but is it enough? I mean, again, both sides, there's a lot of cipher progress here. The goal here is that Forward can potentially pop a cipher, maybe go for the rescue. The biggest problem is that the Priestess is dying away from ciphers, but they're also dying in a corner away from the rescuers. So the Breaking Wheel can easily cut off all the survivors here, potentially coming in for a rescue, and stuff that save. So this is going to be really crucial, and this is where Psychologist becomes very, very weak, because Psychologist has no ability to make the rescue. If you get cut off from a distance, you're getting stuffed as Psychologist. You're not making that save. And Forward is less likely to make it too, considering he doesn't have a lot of football. He wasted too much in the early game, although the Forward is already here. So Forward's able to waste as much time as possible. There's a chance they could potentially prime this Cypher Machine. With a Tide Turner rescue, they'll have enough time to go for a win.
Oh, he got stuck there a little bit and throw a peeper there to make the rescue slow. Trying to get the terror shock. Oh, going in for the crucial terror shock. Eli, this could be a game changer right now.
Yeah, beautiful terror shock. That is a huge game-changing play, because now it's a tie situation. That just went from a win to a tie instantly, because Forward, when you go for that rescue, you want to bait that hit on Cher, force them out of wheel form, but you have to get the save as they're getting out of wheel form. The Forward messed up the timing, unfortunately, there, and that allowed them to get down. He's going to go for Psychologist here. Acrobat's going to try to pressure in on that rescue. Psychologist should just pop the Cypher Machine right away so Acrobat can get a free save. There's really no reason to wait around here. Oh, they might have waited too long here, but the pop is going to go ahead and go off here. Psychologist, wow, look at that speed boost. Broken windows plus borrowed time. Goes for the snap, misses it as well. Not like it's, too crucial. Psychologist, of course, still has that stress to work with. They're going to go ahead and push the exit gates down here instead. Does have peepers available here, but just like that, this is going to be a tied position as long as the Breaking Wheel plays this properly. Forward, not enough football to really do much here. But he is getting stuck here, and he's actually going to change targets, maybe going for the other gate as well.
Yes, this is definitely very Survivor SI right now, because they are both. Everyone knows that he's gonna go for the gate, so they're staying close to the gate but not right at it. So giving enough earmarks for the hunter to just stay in this area, forcing him to roam around and buying so much time for the other side of the gate to start to be opening. And that's what we see right now. The Forward, who has been chair 1, already trying to open the other gate, while the Acrobat remains still in the middle, and now Psychologist also just giving the earmark. Now the hunter decides to just move on, Eli. There's no point just waiting there for something that's not there. The gate has been opened, and it's going to be first 2 survivors escaping, and it's all about for the
the dungeon's open. This is a 3 escape. Yeah, this is an excellent job from the survivors. They played that end game perfectly. You saw it didn't push the gates too early. You cannot afford push gates early against the wheel, because they can instantly change targets to the other gate. They can get across the map in 3 seconds, and there's nothing you can do as a survivor. So what they did is they split up. You saw the Acrobat stay middle just to be safe there. Psychologist, they stayed off the gate early. Psychologist pushed it as soon as he changed targets to the Forward, and the Forward was able to lose the wheel. The wheel gave up chase on Forward, which might have actually been the mistake there. If you continue to chase Forward, the dungeon wasn't not in that vicinity, so you're able to down the Forward and get a tie there. But Breaking Wheel, I guess, getting a little extra aggressive there did not work out in their favor. Psychologist was able to get the gate open. Acrobat able to beat the wheel to the gate, and of course the survivors knew exactly where dungeon was. Forward was able to push it and get that escape. So going from, they had a winning position, fortunately Forward making that misstep on that rescue, still able to clutch up a 3 survivor escape here, relieving a lot of pressure from the RYU hunter, and just like that, RYU with a huge advantage going into the second half of round number 1.
Yes, we're gonna go quickly to the match stats with a 96-second coming in with a forward first guy that was really long time, and he managed to escape too, so that is really strong coming in. And then the decoding for Ada 251, actually very smooth, very steady. They definitely let her decode as long as, and that's one of the things that I want to say, Eli, that even though Ada doesn't have much of a like rescue containment, but at the same time she can decode faster than Mercenary. So some people call her the female version of the Mercenary because she can take 2 hits, and but she can decode faster. So maybe that's one of the reasons, Eli, they chose a psychologist to bring psychologists, because she definitely can help those machines to speed up. Because just like you say, even though they got the terror shock, they managed to bring back the match that seemed almost like a tie back to a win, and that is something so difficult to do. But we just saw it, ladies and gentlemen, in front of our eyes, how they did it. They all split up and they rushed to the gates, but were not right there. They were just nearby in the vicinity, buying some time, and actually playing those mind games as well for the breaking wheel.
Yeah, so the reason why they brought psychologists is 'cause it's because they didn't want to play into Dream Witch too hard. So if you go psychologist, you kind of force them away from Dream Witch, and you force Breaking Wheel instead of Dream Witch round number 1, which is pretty good. But of course, it does play into Breaking Wheel, which again isn't ideal. I mean, the thing is, if you want to have someone that can decode faster than a Mercenary, it's better to play someone who has abilities that are strong against a Breaking Wheel, such as Patient. Patient would have been a lot more viable there. But again, they were trying to force the hunter away from Wheel. That's why they went psychologist. It's just that, sorry, not away from Wheel, away from Dream Witch. That's why they went psychologist. It's just that it's harder for the psychologist then to deal with the Wheel. But luckily, psychologist never had to kite. You saw it throughout the entire point of the match. Psychologist never got found. That was a big game changer. If psychologist gets found first, it's not an easy kite. Psychologist is going to go down quickly, and it's really difficult. 4 got found first, great kiter. Played right into the priestess support, and there's nothing the Breaking Wheel can really do in that situation. They were not able to find psychologists, and that was definitely a blessing for the RYU survivors. But yeah, I mean, again, you've seen a key factor, in this tournament thus far today. Priestess being a huge support character, even against Breaking Wheel. You see why it's one of the 5 best characters for going against a Wheel, because you really have that support to work with. As soon as they get out of Wheel form, that's when you can simply take those portals, transition away, and force them either to go back into Wheel form or create enough distance where they can't even hit traps on you, and you extend those kites way longer than the Breaking Wheel would prefer, obviously, to happen.
Yes, exactly. And one more thing that I have to add is regarding what Poch Pies mentioned yesterday about the earmark hunting the hunters late game, forcing them to stay in that same spot, waiting for the survivors to appear or waiting to find a survivor. It is going to be very difficult because at the same time, sometimes we saw a hunter yesterday, Eli, that he didn't bring earmark. And that was actually quite surprising for everyone, that decided just not to bring earmark and just rely on his hunter game sense. And I think sometimes, like we saw just in the match, the earmark really forced the Breaking Wheel to remain in one side of the gate. And he spent quite a bit of time going up and down, going to his story, and just trying to find someone. And that was definitely detrimental to his end game, because at the end, he was just not able to find anyone, and they were all able to escape. So that's one of the things that also can be very dangerous if you rely too much in some of the skills that come in with your persona. So yeah, that's what we just saw yesterday as well.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, that definitely does come up once in a while where you get tinnitus, you try to find the survivor hiding. But of course, tinnitus it's one of the best traits on the entire persona web for hunters. Every hunter, with the exception of Feaster, will have to bring it. And it's also and not only that, I mean, he knew the Ford was there because he kind of chased the Ford into that 2-story area, so he knew the Ford was in the vicinity. So I don't know if the earmark really made too much of it. It's just like leaving the Ford. As soon as he lost sight of the Ford, that's kind of what changed the game, because then he got aggressive, he changed targets to go to the exit gate, and that's that allowed the survivors to get the gate open. Psychologist had the gate open, Acrobat shortly followed, and the Ford was able to get to the dungeon. So that was definitely a big game changer, and it really just it worked really well for RYU survivors. And again, we talked about the key factor for RYU is that they have a very strong hunter. So now you're already leading going into the second half of round number 1. Now you get to have your hunter play, which is sneaky. Of course, we're going to see either we have Sculptor as an option, we have Dream Witch, we also have something like Bloody Queen. Maybe Sneaky just goes out and plays something like Bloody Queen, goes for a draw, plays a draw hunter, just to secure the win in round number 1. But, you know, considering how strong Sneaky is with these other hunters such as Sculptor and Dream Witch, I expect we're going to see a Dream Witch right out the gate here, try to get as many extra kills as possible and just try to extend the lead to the best of her ability.
Yes, Dream Witch in Chinatown. That is something that we've seen since Koa, actually. Dream Witch being able to manipulate the survivors to just remain at certain ciphers, because sometimes the only thing about Chinatown is that these ciphers tend to be quite close to each other and on one side of the map. And that is something that can definitely affect the survivors' strategy. When there is two ciphers too close to each other, Dream Witch can easily can both and then avoid from popping. So I think this map is relatively not too bad for Dream Witch, if you may ask. Also because there's a dungeon that is also quite next to the middle area. So if the hunter decides to bring the survivor to the dungeon, to the basement, and then there's two ciphers there about to be decoded, that definitely can slow down the game so much in favor for the hunter. So that's definitely one thing to know about this map, that I think it works. It could work quite well against Dream Witch, Eli.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see Siraban first here. Looks like we're going to see... Oh, no forward. Wow. This is a interesting choice here from AX. Could be that they don't really have a forward player at all. Psychologist band here next for Sneaky, definitely indicating towards that Dream Witch. And it looks like the next one... Is that a Magician? Don't know. That's going to be interesting. Magician...
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, Magician doesn't... I mean... Magician doesn't really make sense for going against a Dream Witch, but I guess, you know, AX is just coming out here showing their stuff, trying to have fun, of course, maybe using some specialty characters. Of course, you know, characters that are good against Dream Witch are ones that can take multiple hits, such as Psychologist, Barmaid, and also ones that can kite out Patroller, such as Acrobat. Magician has none of those things, but, you know, Magician's still a nice character overall, not a bad kiter. To say the least, so maybe it'll be a factor here. It's just such a risky play. It really doesn't work too well against Dream Witch, but we'll see how it works out for AX in this situation.
Yes, want to go real quick to the crowd in there. We see the first class seats: Chien, Samantha, 3 Eunice, Junice, Nelmel, hi, Naomi, Jules, Aurora, Miss, Nico, and King. Hello guys. So yeah, Eli, we see a Dream Witch pick from Sneaky. Actually, Eli, I don't know you know this, but this is one of the best enchantress on this tournament, which is Caliste. Is also enchantress main. So really looking forward to see Patty gameplay. A lot of fans like enchantress gameplay and see how will she counter this Dream Witch in Chinatown. It's going to be quite a strategy, Eli. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
It's not really common to see magician and enchantress together. Really something to think of.
I'll answer that question for you. She doesn't. So Enchantress is horrible against Dream Witch. Like, I understand, obviously, Enchantress being played because it's a very good Enchantress player, but it doesn't make sense here. Enchantress is one of the worst characters for going against Dream Witch. This makes, I mean, in my opinion, this is a very underwhelming team comp, but it's just gonna be, man, Magician, Enchantress, they get countered so hard by Dream Witch. So I think maybe they're expecting something else. I don't really know. I guess, I mean, the only logical reasoning for this comp is that Enchantress is in here to counter a potential Sculptor, whereas a Magician is in here to counter a potential Bloody Queen. But then they all just get countered by Dream Witch. So yeah, very interesting lineup here for AX here. Sneaky is looking at this and is feeling really good, playing Dream Witch into this. Of course, Mercenary Priest is very strong, but who knows? Maybe we'll be surprised.
Yeah,
but historically, Enchantress, I mean, you can get stuns on one of the leeches, but then you have to get stuns separately on another leech. So even if you have stuns on the main spawn, you can just use a different follower to hit the Enchantress, and you don't have stuns on that one. Also, Enchantress has no fighting potential against Patroller, neither does Magician. So, of course, I love to see Enchantress get utilized. I think it's very exciting, and of course, a very strong Enchantress player is always good to see. But against a Dream Witch, it's a really steep climb for AX, and they're really pushing it with this one. But we'll see if they're able to pull it out here. It's going to be an intense battle here for sure.
Exactly, this is going to be definitely an intense match because we have never really seen Enchantress and a Magician combo. We often actually see barmaid with seer, even barmaid with psychologist, and even mechanic together with acrobat. We see all their combos, so many infinite combos. But seeing magician and enchantress is definitely not something that we often see. So guys, really looking forward to see what's going to bring up in Chinatown Sneaky versus AX Survivors with your caster Milk and Eli O. Let's go.
Looks like we're going to see the Dream Witch going towards the, we can call the walls area over here. Looks like does catch sight of the Magician. So already, great find here for Sneaky. Totally fine chase target. Goes for that illusion right away. Already getting an illusion out. This is really good for Sneaky. Getting the trap here onto the Magician. Going to get the pallet down. Magician does force a leech hit. So at least gets the leech down, which is very important. You see only one more illusion to work with. Of course, we are on the competitive server, which means that, you know, as we talked about, Sway, there's only 2 illusions. This is not going to be Flywheel. This is going to be Old Magician, not the new improved one. So Sneaky may be a bit of a premature patroller, though. Magician might be able to kite this one out because of how far away that follower got. And it looks like one more bite here, but the portal is set up and he's able to take it as well. The follower will be right behind, but this patroller is going to fall off right here. And Magician can use this illusion on the follower. Goes for the illusion. Oh, gets the hit through the illusion there. Excellent job from Sneaky. And you do see why Magician is just such a difficult character to play and a difficult character to use competitively, especially with only 2 wands. Now Magician has no more wands to work with, and just like that, a very, very fast down here for Sneaky puts her in a very strong position right out the gate.
Yes, forcing another survivor out of the cipher is very, very sneaky gameplay. She really likes to do that. Putting the survivor in a chair close to a cipher and being in control of the situation. That's something Sneaky does so well. Making the first hit on the mercenary, forcing an early rescue. Magician getting that skill to remain on the chair for a little bit, but no, now transitioning away. And now it's all about the patroller coming in from Sneaky once again, trying to bite the magician while mercenary taking already the first damage. Ooh, that last effort hitting in, that is very, very fast. And actually, it was not so close to do a rebound kite, but anyway, the magician did try, and now Sneaky coming in, following the mercenary and also putting a leech as well. That's one of the things about Sneaky manage of this map. He's always able to control these survivors really well, and that's what we see in Eli, a multitasking god right here.
Yeah, and it's not only that, it's also very important to get a leech on the person, on the rescuer, because now the rescuer cannot decode until they get deleached because they're half health, right? So if the leech, if they try to decode, the leech is just going to kill them. If they're at full health and they try to decode, they can easily just eat the leech. And all the elbow pads expired. All the elbow pads gone. That is so big. Wasting items is really important. They're coming in for another rescue. Gets hit on the priestess with Tide Turner Magician. Is going to go ahead and get rescued here. Sneaky following that trail here. No blink available. Of course, we did see the patroller get utilized already from that follower. But it is going to be back. And another portal. This creates some distance. So this allows for a potential rebound kite. But I don't know how long it's going to be considering the leech is following shortly behind and the blink will be online or the trade at least will be online in a few seconds here. We may see a switch to blink if he's, oh no, is able to get the down out the window anyways. So Sneaky can share the magician for the last time here, and the cipher progress not far enough at all. A leech in play onto the mercenary as well. 2 survivors injured. This is a very good position for the Dream Witch.
Didn't even force the blink, Ila. Just like you said, it was quite likely that must force Sneaky into a blink, but she hasn't given yet. She's still holding into the patroller, and now the mercenary just unleashed, so leaving only the priestess leech on the map. They're trying to get all the resources away from the Dream Witch, so this is actually smart gameplay from AX as well. Now that they know that the cards are not on their side, they're gonna try to manage to stay away as far as possible from the leeches.
Yeah, and it looks like, of course, that leech on the priestess is going to pressure them down, forcing a deleech. Again, before you go back to decoding, if you're half health and you have a leech in play, you're just unable to decode. And it looks like we're going to see Sneaky trying to find where these survivors are healing up. Looks like not able to do so. And the leech still following this priestess is going to... Nope, not going to take down the portal. Goes for a patroller onto the priestess here, trying to trap them in here. So the one... Okay, so the leech is going to camp one side. The spawn's going to camp the other. Going to go ahead and take that portal, and she is able to get the down with the leech, but the leech is going to get removed because of that, and that actually gives the survivors a little bit of room here. And I don't know, is Sneaky going to share priestess? Yeah, it looks like maybe with the spawn follower here, and is going to get another leech into play in the process.
Yes, that's one of the things that survivors did quite well, like you said, getting rid of all these leeches, forcing Sneaky to waste time waiting for the next leech to come in. And now there's two ciphers remaining. One of them 65, almost about 70, and the next one is also 50. So this is looking actually not too bad. They could still try to finish decoding. We see Enchantress trying to also get the leech off, but however, she'll be forced to stay away from her cipher for a while the mercenary coming in for a first-time rescue on the priestess.
Looks like we're going to see that hit there, taking that portal. And you see the stun. Enchantress has a stun, being built up on one of the followers, but it's only one. And this is why Enchantress can be really difficult against Dreamwitch because, as soon as another leech comes into play, you don't have the stun on the new leech. You only have it on each individual one, which makes it very weak and, again, susceptible to patrol. We're going to go ahead and continue after the Priestess here. Trying to get this last hit. Does Priestess have a portal? No. He's going to go down to the spawn follower. The last Cypher Machine's almost done here, but Sneaky needs to try to pressure one of these, and just in time, pressuring that mercenary off the last cipher. Priestess on share here, and this should potentially seal the deal here if Sneaky plays this properly. Goes for the blink, gets the hit onto the mercenary. Mercenary unable to make the rescue in time here. Will they be able to prime the cipher in time? Sneaky has to make sure mercenary doesn't get the save, and it looks like mercenary is gonna go down right before.
They're waiting for the perfect timing.
No, he could drop, goes for the swing, and gets the Terror Shock on the rescue, preventing the save. That's going to be one extra kill here. And the Leech on Enchantress, which means all that Sneaky has to do is down the Enchantress with her Leech, and that is a 4 survivor elimination. I believe the Enchantress Leech should potentially have Blink, unless I'm mistaken, unless it was the... No, okay, the Enchantress Leech was actually the one that was used to hit the mercenary. But look at that, only one more stun for the Enchantress. She can use them all up here, but they're going to go away very quickly. You get a simple trap with the followers, and there's the blink. There's the down. 4 survivor elimination. What a turnaround there at the end, and an 8-1 lead for RYU.
Yes, amazing Dreamwitch from Sneaky coming in with that swiftly change from Patroller to Blink right at the most, not actually early game, only almost at the end of the game. That was definitely game changer, especially with the early hit on the mercenary, unable to rescue the last share of the priestess. That was definitely the game changer, Illa, and that was so important because the moment the survivors get enough time to finish those machines, the machines was prime, Eli, but the moment that they pop it, it get the detention hit, they cannot rescue at all. And that's definitely a fast hand coming in from Sneaky Stream, which really scary stuff coming in here. The blink swift was so fast and very unexpected, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just if Mercenary makes that rescue, that's really important, because if Mercenary gets that save, before he goes down, then it's tough. Sneaky has to instantly pick up the Mercenary and then try to camp and hope they don't pop the Cypher. I mean, it's still not a bad position for the Dreamwitch there. But the problem is, if you don't pick up the Mercenary, they're just going to pop the Cypher, and all survivors are up there. So Mercenary not getting that save, that was really important. And it really just worked out in their favor. And you see here, again, Magician, it didn't work, right? I mean, of course, maybe this is a very strong Magician player, but the problem is that Magician takes an early leech hit, and he was able to swing through the illusion as well. I mean, it was just a very fast down on Magician. 2 illusions gone right away. And on top of that, Enchantress just has nothing to work with against a Dreamwitch. It's so hard to farm stuns against a Dreamwitch because the stuns get split between the followers each time, so or not each time, but, depending on which follower is chasing the Enchantress. So it's just like, Enchantress has nothing. Enchantress has nothing to work with against a Dreamwitch. And, again, I understand going specialty characters is always exciting, but especially against Dreamwitch, you cannot afford to do that, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to get countered, and this is going to be the result almost every time against a good Dreamwitch player.
Yes, the moment Sneaky changed to Blink, that was the game changer. And so far we see the results here for Ryu, 8 points on the BO1 and AX with 1 point. So it's definitely going to put a lot of pressure on the AX Hunter's side. We're going to see the same map, Chinatown. What do you think could be the potential hunter that AX could bring to the match?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously...
Yeah, besides
Well, again, I mean, we probably expect them to have Dreamwitch, because we did see Psychologist get taken in round number 1. The reason why they brought that Psychologist in the first round was to prevent the Dreamwitch from coming out, and it did. It brought out the Breaking Wheel, and it worked out in their favor because, again, Psychologist did not get found. But, yeah, I mean, here, I think how this works is that I can't actually remember who has map pick, but If RYU has map pick, it's very simple. They pick a bad Breaking Wheel map, they ban Dream Witch, and then they force the Hunter of AX not to have Dream Witch or Wheel on either of those maps. And it becomes very, very strong because then you can essentially get 2 bans in place of 1 because you can't play Wheel in certain maps, and then Dream Witch is getting banned anyways. So it's just really difficult for them to come back from that situation. And then on top of that, any map that's good, any map that's weak for Breaking Wheel is going to be strong for Sneaky Hunters. Arm Factory and Red Church, both maps that are very weak for the Wheel. So then Sneaky can simply play Bloody Queen or Sculptor. Both Hunters work on those maps, and it just works really well. And this is kind of the contrast between these 2 types of Hunters, Breaking Wheel players and then Dream Witch Sculptor players. The maps they work out differently. Small maps like Arms Factory and Church with a lot of windows don't work for Wheel, but they work for something like, Dream Witch, Bloody Queen, Sculptor. And then large maps like Moonlit, Lakeside, they don't really work well for things like Sculptor. They're not exceptionally great for Dream Witch, but they work well. Actually, Lakeside doesn't really work for Wheel, but maps like Chinatown and Moonlit work very well for something like a Breaking Wheel.
Yeah, we see a quick change of survivor from Ryu, Cake coming in replacement of NG. So that is one thing to take into consideration. Just like you were saying, I believe Arms Factory gonna be a very good map for pick for the survivor side of Sneaky RYU, because they know Sneaky mains Bloody Queen as well as Dream Witch and Geisha, and she can definitely utilize these hunters very well on Arms Factory. So I wouldn't be surprised if they choose that map. But at the same time, Arms Factory is also a very well-known map for countering, for the survivor side, for countering Dream Witch. And being such a small map, has the ciphers all together, it also make it like a fast-paced game, if you may ask. So I think that's one of the things that the survivors have to take into consideration. They need to choose a hunter that is also fast and is not going to down them so early on, and needs to get the presence as well. So I think that's going to be interesting if they actually do go for Arms Factory. Which hunter will they expect?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Dream Witch is very good on Arms Factory, so it's hard for survivors to counter Dream Witch on that map. But the point is that you're countering Breaking Wheel, so you can ban Dream Witch, and then they can't play Wheel because it's a difficult map. I expect that if RYU does have Mac pick, AX is going to ban Arms because they don't want to have to play on Arms here. That'd be very bad for them. So then they probably go Church, which still isn't great for Wheel, but it allows a little bit more versatility, as Wheel is technically playable on Church. It's not as bad as Arms, but it's not great. So I don't know, we'll see. But it's it's just a really big uphill battle here for AX here, down 8-1 going into round number 2. RYU definitely way out on top. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know the game plan here for AX. Again, it's just like if they do have map pick, again, we're going to see that in a moment. If AX does have map pick, they can simply pick a good Wheel map. They're going to get the Dream Witch ban, and they still have Breaking Wheel available. But it's still just it's 7-point deficit here, really challenging to come back from. And with the way Sneaky's been playing, especially the way the RYU survivors played that last run against the Wheel, they're looking very, very promising thus far.
Yes, the RYU survivors, even though with the peeper at the chair, they still managed to get that rescue. That was so important. And that's actually something to bring to attention, is how important it plays the rescuer role plays in the team. That when he can get the rescue right before the survivor flies, that definitely can change the whole match. And that's something that the hunter from AX didn't take into consideration, because he thought that by placing the peeper at the chair, he would slow down the rescue and just not make the rescue happen. But then it just all comes to the place of how the survivors can come back from the mistakes they make, and they manage to bring the game back from a lose to a tie to a win. And that's something that we're seeing right now in the tournament, that even though you are in a bad position, you're able to come back, and that is something to see and to learn from. And I think that's really good that we see from the survivors coming in.
Yeah, I mean, the survivor-sided aspect of this game definitely showing. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it's really tough here again for AX. The AX Breaking Wheel, as you mentioned, they had a great position, getting the stuff on the forward, and they just weren't able to capitalize from it, losing the forward endgame, or able to make it out the dungeon. And I mean, that wouldn't have mattered as much as well, because again, Sneaky still eliminates 4 survivors. So even if they do tie, it's still 7-2. It's still a 5-point lead. But now 8-1, 7-point lead. It's even better. It's just RYU is just looking way out in front here of AX, and it's definitely very challenging. So assuming let's take this situation where Say we have a bad breaking wheel map and Dream Witch gets banned. What hunter do you think AX is potentially playing if they don't have that option to go breaking wheel because it's a bad wheel map and they don't have the option to go Dream Witch because it's banned?
I think the next hunter to utilize will either be something that he feels comfortable with, and I've seen some players bring out Wax Artist because this is the Wax Artist version that before the nerf. So it's actually quite a strong hunter before the nerf. Has a lot of more wax, and the cooldown time is also less. So it's a little bit more powerful than after the nerf, of course. So that's why I think that a Wax Artist could be a very good hunter to bring in, together with I'm not quite sure other hunter that he means, but oh, we see that pick the band pick here for the map, and it's going to be Ever Sleeping Town, Eli. A map that is potentially very good for both Dream Witch and Breaking Wheel.
Yeah, so AX did get to pick map here, and that's going to be really important for them. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's just like, at least they have an option to pick. Because, again, we talked about if AX has the option to pick map, they have to pick a good map for wheel. Because that forces them to ban either Dream Witch or wheel. If you pick a bad wheel map, they just ban Dream Witch and you lose wheel anyways. So, they have to pick one map that's going to be good for both of them, and Ever Sleeping Town is actually perfect because Ever Sleeping Town is really good for Dream Witch and it's really good for Breaking Wheel. Now, the biggest problem with this is Sneaky Dream Witch is going to get banned, but you still play into Sculptor. Sculptor's really good on Ever Sleeping Town. Geisha's still fine here. Bloody Queen is not very good on Ever Sleeping, so I don't think that's something Sneaky's going to play unless it's a draw situation. However, yeah, you're still playing right into Sculptor here. This is really, really difficult for the survivors of AX. So I don't know. The problem is that Sculptor isn't really. Sculptor is very versatile. You can play Sculptor on any map. Of course, there's some maps that are weaker, but it's not like Breaking Wheel. You can't really play Wheel on Arms, and it's really hard to play on Church and Sacred. Whereas Sculptor, you can play on anything, right? Of course, she's not going to be as strong as on certain maps, but here, this is perfectly fine. Sculptor is going to be very good on this map for Ever Sleeping. I think the goal here for what the idea is for AX is they're just picking a map that's good for their hunter, and they're hoping the survivors will be able to play well.
Yes, definitely. I think Sculptor will be a great pick for this map, especially because if you bring Blink as an early trade, you could potentially bring the survivor quite early on and get your presence quite fast, and then swiftly either change to teleport, and then you could definitely harass the ciphers as well. Because with the vision that gives you the CCTV, you just need to throw those status, and then when you feel the chair is about to expire, you just teleport to the machine and then stop them from decoding it. So I think Sculptor will be very strong in this map. And knowing Sneaky can play very good Sculptor, I think it's very likely that she could bring it up. Others hunter that she will bring could either be Geisha, but like you said, even though it's fine, you're expecting Sneaky to aim for a tie or for an all kill.
Well, you don't have to play aggressively. I mean, you're up 7 points. You don't. Yeah, you don't have to play very aggressive. I mean, obviously, if you have a chance to go for a 4 elimination, you're going to take it. But yeah, here, Sneaky doesn't have to play aggressive. You can just go for a tie here. Your survivors will play well, regardless of the situation they did in the first round. I expect them to continue that. So, yeah, looking into this round here, up 7 points. Sneaky could play Bloody Queen, go for a tie. Not a great BQ map. But I think it's safer just, I mean, you have the lead. It's okay to play Sculptor as well. Also not a bad tie hunter as long as you play, maybe a trump card detention Blink build wouldn't be bad. So, yeah, I think here Sneaky's probably, at least just trying to secure a draw. Conserve or, kind of just hold the lead they have. They have a strong lead. If you get ties, you'll continue to hold that lead. And then maybe you'll be able to push for more depending on how well you're able to play. But ultimately, yeah, just conserve the lead as long as possible.
Yes, for the hunter to be able to play under less pressure is crucial because that's one of the ways that you can also can just aim for going for the survivors just one by one. Don't need to focus on survivor and cipher machine and just get so much pressure on yourself. It's definitely not so good. However, though, diamonds are made under pressure, like Posh Pies likes to speak. So I think that's one of the things that could be good for the survivor side of AX. They definitely need to also put some pressure on the other team so they can also help the hunter a little bit to alleviate that pressure and also try to get more survivors out is definitely crucial. But if you have seen the survivors from RYU, from the Sneaky Hunter, they are very, very good. They have managed to bring loss to tie to win, and that is definitely quite difficult to do along this tournament. We have seen them grow as well. So I think a lot of things are expecting a lot of people that know them as well. They're actually veteran players, some of them, so they will know what to do. And I think that's also one of the beauty of seeing tournament play, Eli, because we see all teams versus good teams and all survivors versus new survivors playing in the arena. So everything is also a way of getting experience and knowledge for competitive playment. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. And yeah, I mean, it's just again, we talked about going into this tournament, 128 teams here. Some of them, of course, will be going in just for the competitive aspect, trying to gain some insight on how the competitive scene works and how to deal with the stress, how to deal with the pressure. But of course, there are a lot of these teams going for first place, going for that victory, and trying to be the champion of Southeast Asia. We are going to have, looks like, Sneaky on the Hunter side first here. RYU, of course, with a huge advantage of 8-1 here. But let's see how they're able to come back. Of course, it is AX Max selection, so this is going to benefit them slightly. And we'll see what Sneaky opts to ban here. I expect probably Seer and Priestess. Okay, Seer and Priestess.
Yes.
And from the survivors here, of course, Mercenary and Ford was what we've seen be pretty standard, but they could also go something like Acrobat Patient as well, depending on what they're trying to prepare for. And it's going to be Dream Witch ban, which of course is most logical.
Yes, we see the Dream Witch ban, just like you say, they're expecting the Dream Witch from Sneaky, and they don't want to deal with another strong Dream Witch in this map, especially because Sneaky knows how to manage this map so well. So maybe we'll see a sculpture, and as well we see the first shadows of the survivors coming on the table, which is the Mercenary, the one with the hoodie, and the next one will be Enchantress. Once again, Eli, they're giving a chance to the Enchantress a second time, because the first one we probably didn't see the full potential of this NX official Enchantress. So I hope we can see more of proactive gameplay here in this time with Enchantress, because as you know, it's a very it's a little bit risky survivor and front at the beginning with no ape on her hand to stand the hunter. So it's something that needs to build up. So definitely going to see how the Sneaky will counter this Enchantress as well.
Yeah, Enchantress is actually, okay, so this time around, Enchantress is actually a good pick, because Enchantress is not good against Dream Witch, obviously, with Dream Witch being banned. Enchantress works really well against Sculptor and Geisha, because of course, Chip Hunter being Sculptor, you're able to farm stuns a lot easier. We're going to see Batter Ben as well. I really like this. Sneaky hovering over Violinist, that seems very unlikely. Yeah, okay, so actually Bloody Queen instead. What I was going to say is that Enchantress works really well against Chip Hunter being Sculptor, also very good against Geisha, because you can cut out those dashes with the stuns. Not good against Bloody Queen, but then again, on this map, Bloody Queen is not very strong, right? We talked about how you have these very thick buildings. You have to potentially mirror around. It's very easy for survivors to cut it out a lot stronger. And it's just, it's challenging. It's really challenging for Bloody Queen to hit mirrors around some of these, these wider buildings. So Enchantress, of course, not very good against Bloody Queen, but on this map, definitely could work with that. Also has the 2 stories to work with as well. Entomologist, again, not exceptionally strong against Bloody Queen, but on this map, could potentially cut out mirrors if Sneaky's not able to mirror them, hit those angles properly on the Ever Sleeping Town and Psychologist. Very good against Bloody Queen, because it does force out 1 extra mirror because of those 3 hits.
Exactly. One of the ideal survivors for Bloody Queen to encounter will be either the Enchantress, and I think Entomologist will not be too bad, but you have to admit, Eli, that the Hunter changing target early on game can buy so much time for the survivor Cypher Rush. So I think the fact that if she can commit to the first survivor she finds, regardless of what it is, and then early down, that could definitely help the Hunter to get to stop the Cypher Rush. But at the same time, it's all about which skill will Bloody Queen bring. I think Blink is very common for getting the first survivor down, and then later on maybe switch to either Teleport or just don't bring the Trump card at all. Do you think Sneaky thinking about bringing a Trump card for this match?
Oh, well, Bloody Queen always brings Trump card no matter what. There's no reason anything, because Bloody Queen, again, you don't need any other trait. You don't need Insolence, you don't need Confined Space, so you don't need Pass Palette Breaking Speed, because you're relying on mirrors. So Bloody Queen will always bring Trump card detention no matter what. I think the only time we've ever seen no detention on Bloody Queen is when We saw like GW and IVL use it. The hunter for GW use it one time because they needed like a do or die 4K and they had to bring other traits for some other reason. It was a weird situation, but under normal circumstances, Bloody Queen always has trump card detention no matter what. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason Bloody Queen doesn't need anything else. So we probably will expect to see a blink start out with. There's no real reason to bring. You can only bring excitement for Enchantress and then maybe Entomologist to walk through the beast, but that's not really relevant. And especially a 3-hit character like Psychologist, you have to bring Blink. So we're going to see the Geisha get spawned here from Sneaky, which means that Survivor does spawn over near Fake Gate. Actually rotating straight to corner right into Sneaky's line of sight, but did not catch sight of them actually, and is going to go ahead and go for the Fake Gate and going for that swing there, and already you see the buildings interfering with the mirror image. That's exactly why Bloody Queen is so weak on this map. We do have the mirror image right behind. Oh, but it does die out just in time, and the Enchantress is going to be able to kite out this mirror image because of that. And yeah, Sneaky already on the back foot, missing that first mirror image because Ever Sleeping Town can be such a struggle, and you see Enchantress just trying to break line of sight and is going to try to use these buildings to their advantage.
Yes, buying the distance and getting the first hit on the Enchantress, that was really crucial for Sneaky. But at the same time, you see Enchantress is trying to get closer, but then Sneaky knows that Enchantress feeds off the press of her being close to her. So she's going to try to just stay away, but at the same time using the second mirror quite well, and now using the speed from the pallet to run to this double pallet area, and Sneaky coming in with the blink. That was so clutch for Sneaky, getting a stun and blink at the same time, Eli.
Yeah, wasting that stun, very, very important there. Sneaky, obviously having an advantage because of that. Able to chair on the Mercenary Cypher. No wanted order here is interesting. Gonna go ahead and use that mirror image, trying to force the Mercenary into using an elbow pad. Oh, gets an early hit on the Mercenary. It's Sneaky hit by the tram. Does get hit by the tram, so there's no option to go for a double hit. And this is actually a clean rescue from the Mercenary, although it didn't really seem like it. Tram really coming in clutch there. Enchantress, of course, going to use this time to get away from the last Cypher. Not the last Cypher, but the Mercenary Cypher machine. Goes for the pallet drop here. Sneaky does have the mirror image. You have to be careful. You're not close to the Enchantress. Enchantress can actually stun to cancel it. And it looks like Sneaky does get the down on the Enchantress. 3 stacks now available, which is very important. That's going to be able to help the Enchantress kite out a mirror image later in the game. Psychologist is going to go ahead and heal up that Mercenary, allowing them to come in for another rescue. Oh, did Sneaky get the hit? Gets the hit before the heal goes off. That is a huge play there. Yeah, big misstep from AX, healing right next to the Hunter, and Sneaky able to get the down on the Mercenary, and all of a sudden this went from a tied position to a complete winning position for Sneaky if this plays out properly into her favor. We're going to say mirror onto the Entomologist as well. Gets a hit there. Entomologist unable to go for the rescue. Psychologist too far away here as well, and this is a perfect position for the Bloody Queen.
Was so clutch, Eli. That stopping the Wi-Fi healing, that definitely detrimental for the survivors right now, because they were not expecting that, and now Psychologist happens to be quite far away from the chair, making Enchantress completely fly first, and Mercenary just here going into the chair right on Sneaky arms. This is so important, Eli, right now, because now Sneaky is definitely with the upper hand of this match.
Absolutely, and I mean, what do you do here? If you're the survivors, I mean, Psychologist comes for the save. 3 ciphers left, and some of them don't even have a lot of progress. And I think, she didn't see the Psychologist, but she's gonna hit the Psychologist here. They're gonna get the rescue. Psychologist, of course, can take extra hits. Mercenary, you're gonna have to use 1 elbow pad here. I think Sneaky probably gives up chase on Merc. Oh, she's gonna keep chasing Merc. I don't agree with this because now Merc just elbow pads this here. Yeah, I mean, you get the last elbow pad out, but you waste your mirror image. Doesn't really seem worth it. And Mercenary, of course, will have that 15-second delay time when taking that hit. Sneaky can use Blink here to down the Merc, but with the delay time, this may give the survivors enough time to potentially, when this goes for the Blink, is able to get the down on the Mercenary. But as we mentioned, Soy, 15 seconds starts now, and Mercenary is going to take a long time to die, and maybe, just maybe, this will give survivors enough time to potentially go for this. But will Sneaky go for the mirror onto the Entomologist? If she can down the Entomologist right here, that could be very good. It gets the hit on the Entomologist, and now no one can go to the last Cypher machine, and all of a sudden, this looks like a winning position.
All of a sudden, Sneaky once again changing the match towards her favor. That long distance hit on Entomologist through the wall that completely got Entomologist off guard. And now Sneaky just needs to find a Psychologist and try to stop for this rescue to be done, because now Psychologist is divided. Go to the chair or go to the Entomologist that is down. So it's definitely a little bit of difficult situation here for Scythe, forcing to be a rescue here for the mercenary, and ooh, doing that body block quite well. But again, I don't think it really helps right now having one more person down. But I guess they just want to elongate the life of the mercenary so he can kite around this two-story area, while entomologist just used a self heal.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is like it's still technically tieable. Like the problem is even if Sneaky gets the oh my god, gets mind game there, misses that hit there. Mercenary, yeah, and that's not looking behind them when they kite, unfortunately, and that gives a free hit to Sneaky, is able to get the down, and now it's no longer tieable. I was gonna say if Mercenary could force out a mirror, potentially try to last as long as possible, plus 15 seconds of delay time, maybe the survivors can pop the last two ciphers. They're both at 75 plus. But now Mercenary is gonna go down here, is gonna get shared. What's kind of interesting is a one escape is still possible. Sneaky switched to Peepers, which I think is actually a huge misstep because now Sneaky doesn't have teleport late game. The survivors do manage to pop the last cipher. There's no option to teleport. We're going to see the mirror angle change. Does it find the survivors? No. There's no option to teleport. So what's going to happen is you're able to get down one survivor at the end game. This is assuming you can pop the last cipher machines. You're able to get one survivor down in the end game, and then the other one just opens the other gate because there's no teleport. You can't get to that gate. We do see Sneaky does find the survivors hiding out in Graveyard here. Of course, Psychologist being the one injured here. Entomologist was able to get that heal off. But I think Sneaky probably still is on track to get all four survivors down here.
Yeah, she of course knows there's two survivors right here, so definitely going to try to use the mirror to down the psychologist very soon. So now using the walls, wow, no, they didn't help. So now psychologist is kind of trapped in a sandwich situation and will be get down, which leaves the entomologist alone, and she has to try to pop two ciphers in. Like that's really difficult, like you said. So it's definitely Sneaky knows that and is going to try just to follow the earmark until she finds the entomologist and downs her. And since she already used the self heal, it's going to be very difficult now for her to just kite long enough until the psychologist stands up. So definitely hard situation here for the survivors, Eli.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of time here. Psychologist is able to, yeah, get back up. So, I mean, it's not over just yet. His last cipher machines, as we see, they have a lot of progress, and there's no teleport. So that's really important here. We're going to see Sneaky go for this entomologist. But you see, you can't mirror here. It's Ever Sleeping 10. You got to angle yourself very well here. Trying to go for a basic hit without having to use mirror is able to injure the bees once in the process. There's the mirror image. This should get one hit. Hits the bees and misses those swings, but is able to get the one hit after a while there. And oh no, Psychologist does not have self-heal. Never mind. So yeah, this is it. This is a 4 survivor elimination. All you have to do here is continue after this entomologist. Go for that mirror. That will be 4 survivors down, meaning the RYU survivors only need 1 escape to secure the win here against AX.
Yes, using the beast a little bit to elongate the kite. However, there is going to be another mirror soon for Sneaky, and she's going to use the full presence to get the hit on Entomologist, and it'll be a GG's. 4K coming in again for Sneaky. Super Deadly Hunter, super scary, both Dream Witch and Bloody Queen. So scary, Eli. Sneaky, very, very strong hunter.
What was really interesting there is the survivors had a pretty good position. So what happens is if the psychologist is able to heal the mercenary, mercenary goes for another rescue, mercenary takes a hit, gets the save, then the enchantress has a 3-stack. So what happens is the Bloody Queen mirrors the enchantress, but then the enchantress can now kite out that mirror by running into the Bloody Queen, 3-stacking them. And while they're stunned, they can get away and they kite out that mirror. That forces another mirror from Sneaky. And if the enchantress kites well, they could potentially farm back up to 3 stacks. Because I think they were at 4, almost 5. So if they're able to get another stack and a half, then they're back up to 3, and they can kite out another mirror. And if there's enough, if the survivors coordinate it properly, they can body block, they can use enter support, and they can actually kite until they have a winning or drawn position. But the problem is, and you see why Bloody Queen's such a tie hunter, right? Is because even in that position, Sneaky had to have everything go right to win that game perfectly. Mercenary giving that free hit on balloons, Entomologist getting sniped, that rescue getting prevented, finding Mercenary, chairing Mercenary, and they still almost got the last cipher machines almost done. They still had both ciphers that are on 80 plus. So you're still in a position where you might tie. That's why Bloody Queen is just such a tie hunter. But Sneaky, again, everything went right, and of course played very well, hit those mirrors. But the big game changer was getting the hit on the Mercenary while Psychologist was healing them. Mercenary needed to get farther away from the Bloody Queen so there was no risk of a balloon hit, and they needed to stay hidden. If they're able to get the heal off, again, they get the rescue. Enchantress can rebound with the 3 stacks, and Bloody Queen is in a difficult position. But because Mercenary gave the free hit and Entomologist got sniped out, nobody could rescue. Enchantress died, went sent back to the manor with 4 stacks. Mercenary got shared right after that, and that's what gave Sneaky a winning position in a 4 survivor elimination.
Yes, we're gonna see stats real quick. A mercenary with 130 seconds containment time, very long for a mercenary rescuer. And then the enchantress with 69 seconds, together with entomologist 53 seconds as well. Everyone kited, but however, the ciphers were not enough. Only psychologists and entomologists decoding almost 300% together. So as you said, sneaky way of bringing the game back to her and harassing those ciphers, taking the survivors away. Because like you said, if that machine is the one that is the machine that is closest to the survivor, that will definitely stop them from popping it. And Sneaky not only did that, she also had a very good eyesight to spot the mercenary healing, Wi-Fi healing by Ada. That was the most important part of the match, like you said. So that's one of the things too for a hunter, to have the hunter instincts and to see what's going on, not only in front of your eyes, but also in a macro way. You see everything that is a bit far away from you, and that's exactly what Sneaky did. She saw the mercenary stopping there, not doing absolutely anything, but actually just doing the moving motion for healing, and she knew immediately she has to stop that, and that's what she did. And everything went down from that like a domino game. So I think that's one of the things that Sneaky did so well, to take the opportunity when it's given and take anything, eat everything, and leave no crumbs.
Yeah, just a great job overall capitalizing. I mean, again, a key to being a good hunter is, of course, everybody makes mistakes, right? The survivors are going to make mistakes, the hunters are going to make mistakes. But as a hunter, because this game is so survivor-sided, as a hunter, if you're able to capitalize on survivor missteps, that's what makes a good hunter. And Sneaky did that. Healing next to the survivors, they're able to get a balloon hit. She was able to find the down mercenary and able to snipe out the entomologist coming for that rescue. That is key for a tie hunter like a Bloody Queen getting a win, capitalizing on survivor missteps. Sneaky did not miss a single one and was able to win because of that. So that's what makes a good hunter, and you can really see why Sneaky is so strong overall. That's one of the things that makes a good hunter. And yeah, just like that, I mean, AX, they have to get all 4 survivors eliminated. RYU just needs 1 out the gate here. It was AX's map selection, so they do have a lot to work with here, right? They do have Dream Witch, they do have Breaking Wheel. So no matter what you ban as the survivor side, you're going to have one of them come out, right? So I expect we're probably going to see Dream Witch ban because of how well they played against the wheel in the last round. And just try to counter the wheel to the best of their ability. Maybe they'll play Mechanic just to play a draw survivor so they can try to, tie, get the 1 or 2 survivors out here. We're going to see now in the picks and bans in a second here. But I expect, we'll probably see Dream Witch get banned here from the RYU survivors.
Yes, definitely. For everyone that just came into this tournament, IVC, we are about to see RYU versus AX. RYU having the leading position, and now the hunter of AX will definitely try to bring back those points. He needs to try to get an all kill, or whether they would just not be able to go to the next stage. So it's a very crucial match, guys. We're gonna see the hunter for AX T-Lab. They banned the Dream Witch, Eli. So immediately there's the Breaking Wheel right on the table. And as you just said, the survivors of RYU are actually quite good countering the Breaking Wheel. So we will see how this ban phase starts in order to bring some confidence back for the hunter, so he can also play the Breaking Wheel to the maximum extent.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think we're going to see Wheel now because, the Merchant ban. Okay, so Mercenary Priestess those are Sculptor Bonbon bans. Those are not Wheel bans at all. Priestess maybe, Merc not really. Because then you get Forward Seer. Forward Seer is that's what you would ban. If you wanted to play Wheel, you're gonna ban Forward Seer and you're gonna give up Mercenary Priestess. You're not gonna do it the other way around. So this is an interesting order of operations here from AX. Again, I still don't completely understand Southeast Asia meta because some of it some of it's very confusing, but Toy Merchant ban here definitely means that, or does indicate towards a wheel, We're gonna see Acrobat as well. It's just a weird. It's a weird set of bans. I honestly, this day's been all over the place in terms of picks and bans. So I'm still trying to understand it myself. So I'm not really sure what we're expecting to see. Again, giving up forward seer indicates no wheel, but then banning merchant indicates wheel. So I guess anything's on the table at this point.
Yes, definitely. We see that Tofu has come out, and Wolfie with Seer, very nice pick right there, especially for you. And then there's also Acrobat and Entomologist. All of the survivors are actually very good against the Breaking Wheel. However, though, we might be seeing AX Tilla bring in an Axe Boy, guys. Actually, we haven't really seen Axe Boy gameplay yet, but hey, there's a reason why they did ban his Axe Boy in the first round, Eli.
Yeah, well, they can't ban in the first round, so I think you're referring to the Axeboy last with Potter. I think they banned his Axeboy last round. But yeah, basically, yeah, no. So basically, I'm interested why they banned Merchant because, yeah, I mean, they picked Entomologist, so you're playing Axeboy into Ento is really difficult. And then also just like forward seer. I mean, forward's not exceptionally strong against Axeboy because of it's easy to drop the path pick of the survivor quickly and drag him at chair forward, can't hit the stun. But yeah, the rest of this comp's pretty good. Ento very good against Axeboy. I'm surprised this third ban from the Axeboy was not an Entomologist. There's really no reason to ban Merchant instead of Ento there. So you're giving Ento then going Axeboy, just really risky. Coordinator as well. I guess that's fine. You don't want to have to deal with you know, Coordinator being a nice rescue character against a good camping counter like an Axeboy. But overall here, playing Axeboy into Ento, it's just that simple. Entomologist is such a strong character for countering Axeboy. If you go for a flame on the Entomologist, the bees will always take the hit. Even if the Ento is sitting on the bees, the flame will still be absorbed into the bees. The Entomologist will not take the hit. And overall, this is looking like a pretty decent comp for RYU. You got to go for 4 survivors eliminated. Axeboy is a hunter that has that potential. So I guess it makes sense to try to kind of go do or die here and just hope you don't find the Entomologist first.
Yes, exactly. Do or die. Definitely not going to be try to not giving so early on the survivors. Don't give them chance to kite too much around this area. However, though, it is an Axeboy, and we have seen all kills happening ever sleeping by Axeboy before. So really hoping to see whether Tillab can get this match, and a very good spawn right here in the middle with all the trees, utilizing, almost trying to see any of the best targets. And all the survivors already starting to transition away from the Axeboy.
Yeah, we are going to see. It looks like it is forward first. Not a great chase target. Obviously, you never want to chase that rescuer forward. Needs to be careful. Does dodge that flame there and is going to immediately football away here. Excellent discipline from the forward there. Not being too overly aggressive, using that football only a little bit, and was able to dodge the flame. Does catch sight of the seer. So this is the best chase target, is to chase the seer first. But of course, seer does have this owl available. Oh, knocks down the tree here, removing the flame. Beautiful setup there from RYU. Beautiful communication, and seer is now into graveyard, which is a very strong kiting area. This is going to be very difficult here. Peepers as well. So no blink, which means this is a very aggressive build. Obviously, you have to be aggressive in a situation where you need all 4 survivors eliminated. We should see the owl get you. Oh, the bees come in, and he doesn't even need the owl. Gets that down as well. Excellent support there from these survivors, and the bees will allow the seer to make it to the window in time here, getting outside of graveyard as well. Still has owl available. This is looking very good for RYU.
Note that he's not coming out of the trees, so that's why he doesn't get the low speed down. Owl utilizing and now going for the window vault, trying to get the extra speed, and there's a peeper here to slow him down. However, though, forcing the Axeboy to come out of the trees, utilizing the flame, maybe we get a little kiting area here in the graveyard, but we see a beautiful juke for the flame, but will be taking normal hit. And this is actually one of the best kiting area for the survivor, like we mentioned before. Axeboy knows that as well, so he's gonna try to utilize these flames. But Eli, the bees is still coming in to help the seer kite, and this is actually quite crucial because as soon as the bees come, he stops the Axeboy tempo and he cannot reach the seer on time.
Yeah, excellent entomologist support there. Seer needs to dodge this flame. Oh, runs right into that one. Beautiful flame snipe there from this AX Hunter. But Cypher progress, it's so far along. 2 Cypher machines almost primed here. 1 at 60, 1 at 30. This is already a win or draw position here for RYU again. I expect them not to go for any sort of rescue. They only need to win out the X8. There's no reason to push this save. I mean, the Seer died away from all Cypher machines as well. This was a beautiful job. The Seer did a 2.5 Cypher kite. That's enough for a draw or a win, and died away from all Cyphers. All that needs to happen here is forward feeds Tinnitus, maybe keeps the Axe Boy at the chair. The Survivors decode. I don't recommend Ford going for a rescue here. It's too risky. He's going to try it, but the problem is, again, you're in a situation where you only need one off the exit gate here. Ford's going to come for the save. Is able to get the rescue off, so I guess it does buy some extra time, but you are feeding extra presence, and you're giving the Axe Boy a stronger late game situation. So RYU being really overly aggressive in a situation where they don't necessarily need to. We'll see if it works out for them.
Yes, definitely buying some extra time, forcing the X-Boy to move away from the forward. Doesn't want to waste time and then maybe potentially lose the Seer. So that's why he going for just camping the Seer a little bit more, farming him, taking him to a closer chair, which actually doesn't really help the Survivors because there's a machine here and Survivor has been pushed away from the machine, and now X-Boy can camp the chair and the machine with those peepers and trees coming in. Entomologist was really close. Acrobat about to finish his machine, and now Forward is starting a new one.
Yeah, he is. Ford is going to give a free hit there, but this is going to allow a free save as well. The question is, does he continue after Ford? Does he go back for the series? He's going to go back for a series. He's going to drop 2 peepers here. And what that does is that, that forces the Ford to remove the peepers before continuing to decode. But that's Cypher. 50% of the way done. Now Trait Swap is not available because he used up all his peepers. The goal here is he's trying to... Okay, so the idea for the Axe Boy here is he's trying to slow down the Forward Cypher as much as possible, trying to down the Seer before they can prime it. But the Axe Boy acknowledges, I need 4 survivors out here. I cannot afford to even play for a tie. I have to go to this last Cypher, try to pressure the Ford, try to chair him on it, and try to go for a win. We're going to see him just looking around here. He's on cooldown with the trait there because he used 2 peepers. He's going to go ahead and try to pressure the corner house Cypher machine. But if he does that, the Ford continues to do Graveyard.
Yes, 56% on that machine forward. He just have to leave him because there's no way he can get the forward in the graveyard area, and he knows that. So now going back to where they are, Seer was left at the second story. Full health Seer. They're gonna try to commit to one of these survivors. Beautiful placement of the pallet from the entomologist, trying to get the flame, but no, Seer immediately juke it away, and now we see the hunter having a little bit hard time reaching the main target, which should be the Seer, which is dead on chair.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's gonna go ahead. He's gonna teleport to the Forward here. Ford is able to make it into Graveyard as well, but it doesn't matter. Corner house, you see 60% of the way done. And actually, because Axboy used teleport there, it's now over. If Ford even goes down before the Cypher's primed, doesn't matter. They're just going to pop the Cypher. They're going to go to the gates. He has no teleport. He has no map pressure endgame. Beautiful jukes from the Ford. He's going to go down. Oh, he has an illusion to stay alive a little bit longer. And somehow that didn't register. He's going to get the down, but they're going to pop the Cypher. And, as previously mentioned, Soy, no teleport. So even if he downs this Ford instantly, there's no way to pressure that last Cypher. The only chance for the Axboy was try to down the Ford quickly in the endgame and hope that he could teleport to the gate in time. But unfortunately, he did use up that trade. He needed to try to hold that. And Ford is going to try to cut here as long as possible. Probably will go down within a few seconds. Of course, Dungeon not in the vicinity. But 3 survivors at the exit gate here for RYU, and they will ultimately secure the win here against AX.
Yes, now Forward is dying here, giving definitely the win for RYU. Kudos for AX for the gameplay, but RYU will be the winner of the night. And the logo looks quite nice too, have to say. But yeah, kudos for the gameplay that AX did. That was actually a very, very nice way they tried to contain the Hunter of Sneaky. Very strong Hunter right there. But once again, everyone here is experiencing this tournament feeling. And Eli, we have to also admire the bravery that takes to be here in a tournament play and letting everyone see your gameplay. That's actually quite brave. So definitely you guys, AX, you guys did very well, and just can't wait to see more of you guys in future tournaments. Keep working hard and keep doing your best and enjoy the game as well.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised. Going into this matchup on paper, the Survivor, it seemed like pretty even, but the RYU Survivors really surprised me today. Of course, Sneaky's been known to be a very strong hunter and bring a lot of these teams up with the strong hunting, but this Survivor team of RYU, they played really well. They won both games. The support was very strong. The kiting was very strong. Very good skill level overall. Just very impressive gameplay from RYU. I think, RYU wasn't a team we predicted. I think any of us really predicted to go deep into this tournament. But with the way they played today, they have that potential to do so. I mean, obviously, excellent survivability with the survivors, excellent support, excellent teamwork, and excellent hunting with Sneaky. This gives them a huge opportunity to have a chance going into this tournament, even against teams like ZT, BLGH. This team is definitely one to watch out for. RYU, just played very, very well today. You see the 3 survivor escape here forward. Overall 103-second containment time. Of course, the Seer with the first kite as well, 111 seconds. Just excellent kiting. Minimal support with the Ento. It was enough to win. That goes to show how strong Entomologist is. We talked about it. Playing Axeboy into Ento, it's so difficult, and it really showed in this match.
Yes, the longest containment time from the Seer, that was so long, and the way the survivors did the details in forcing the Axeboy to move away from the graveyard and also leave the Seer chair alone. They're definitely getting a free rescue, and the Seer immediately went to 2nd floor. That was definitely so detrimental for the Axeboy, and we see the match results here, guys. RYU with 16.88 over AX 2 points. That was today's match result. But once again, kudos for AX. You guys did an amazing job as both survivor and hunter, and really can't wait to see more of AX coming in. Eli, some of the most unconventional survivors uses a Jancer, magician, something enchantress as well, something actually everyone likes to see, some more refreshing type of survivor, and a new strategy and meta coming in as well. So definitely something to look up for. But once again, RYU, congratulations for winning today's match. You guys are very, very wow. Oh, the Sneaky, that is MVP for Dreamwitch. Sneaky.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, yeah, excellent. Seeing Magician and Enchantress, very exciting. Of course, the Dancer was used by WP in the previous round. But yeah, just seeing these other characters come in, very exciting as well. And of course, Sneaky with the best deduction, obviously the MVP of this match. 2 4 survivor eliminations, really holding that lead by a wide margin against AX here. 16-2, of course, the final score. But yeah, 2 4 survivor eliminations. Excellent job with the Dreamwitch in round number 1. Looked like a very good start, turned into what looked like a drawn situation, but really utilizing how strong Dreamwitch is against these these less meta characters, such as something like Enchantress, of course, not Enchantress, Magician. Of course, Enchantress is meta now, but not meta for going, and not strong for going against a Dreamwitch. And then just going into round number 2, Bloody Queen on Ever-Sleeping Town, very weak Bloody Queen map, still able to get 4 survivors eliminated. Beautiful job there. Of course, the MVP for RYU here.
Yes, beautiful mind game from the survivors of RYU here, forcing the hunter to move away from the chair. I was crucial, and as well as Sneaky did such a good job also getting an eye on the mercenary that was Wi-Fi healing to stop the rescue. That was also crucial. So both of the hunters actually did a great job. However, Sneaky definitely with the eagle eye spot the survivor healing there was definitely crucial, as well as the survivor size picking. Survivors are actually very strong, but together with the synergy they work with, you saw the bees helping with the Seer kite and not even forcing an early owl. That was so much discipline coming in from the RYU survivors, keeping older items as long as they can just to keep kiting us longer and buying so much more time. That was really good discipline and synergy from the survivor side of RYU. So a lot of things to look out for, a lot of things to learn for improving also our own gameplay as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very great job overall. And yeah, I mean, again, you gotta talk about again. RYU is a team to watch out for. Just very strong overall. We see the final match results for today. Of course, MP taking the win over WP with a final score of 12-5. Of course, this one 16-2. RYU, again, we predicted this match to be fairly close. RYU having a slight advantage, but the survivors on RYU, the survivability, is what surprised me. Sneaky, of course, no surprise with this sort of performance, but the RYU survivors, very strong. You can tell very well prepared for this event. I think they definitely have a very strong chance at going deep into this tournament, and it's definitely a team to watch out for.
Yes, definitely. RYU Sneaky, and we see the rankings so far is going to be Group A, MP on the lead, Group B, RYU on the lead. So Ila, the teams that we saw today actually made it to top 1. That is actually quite impressive. And definitely getting all those points. So good today match, Eli. Definitely a treat for us to see the teams that we casted going up to the top one of their groups.
Yeah, absolutely. MP just with a huge lead over in Group A there. There's not much the other teams can do to come back. Looks like MP will be the first seed most likely over in Group A. Looking over to Group B, of course, RYU, very strong performance. We're expecting them to be the first seed over there. GH, BL, Icon, three very strong teams. GH and BL, of course, being the two well-known competitors. I think GH having the slight edge over BL over there. In Noir, ZT, and TMX, ZT and Noir. That is a very close one over there as well. ZT, of course, on paper, having the slight edge, but Noir currently holding that first place seed. We'll have to see how the rest of that group plays out, but I think definitely ZT or Noir will be that first seed moving forward. And it looks like we are going to have not next week, we do have next weekend off, but the matches after that, I believe we have next weekend off, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like BL versus Icon, of course, a very close matchup there. BL will have a slight edge because of that previous tournament experience. ZT versus TMX. Going into that one, of course, TMX being a newer team, ZT arguably the best team in Southeast Asia currently. ZT will, of course, on paper have a heavy advantage going into that matchup, but TMX definitely a team you got to watch out for. Not going to underestimate that at all. So those will be some very exciting matchups to look forward to as well. I'm looking forward to that one too. And just again, these teams in Southeast Asia, we're starting to wind down. Some of these teams falling lower in the seedings here, and of course the higher ones will be advancing. And it's just going to be very close overall to see how this will play out. But that is going to wrap it up for today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. My name, of course, Elio, joined here with Soy Milk Soy. Any last words before we sign off?
Yes, thank you so much everyone who came to the stream to show your support. Let's support all our favorite teams, and thank you so much for coming once again. My love to you all. Love you guys to see you in our next stream. And anyway, let's enjoy our replays and the highlights that are coming in.